Almost ready. I'm doing it. Screw it. We're going live. Fuck it. Just gotta pull this out. Pop out chat so I can see better. Close that. Close this. There we go. We got that. We got that. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. All right, how are we doing? I apologize. I've been meaning to get to this for a while now, and every time I do, stuff happens or something comes up and sidetracks me. Blah blah blah. But we're going to start this. I don't think I'll be able to actually finish this today since it is almost 5 hours long. I don't really have a whole 5 hours to do that. But I am going to start this now. And we shall go. I am streaming. I got the information for the right stream up and ready. It's been a little while since I streamed anything. Let me just double check and make sure I am live. I know it says I'm live, but let me see if I actually am. Testing, testing. Hello? Testing, testing. What? Hello? What? Hello, do I sound okay? Testing, hello. Hello, do I sound okay? Testing. Okay, hello. It sounds fine. It sounded really, my voice sounded really weird and different for a second. I was like, wait, I don't sound that way. I hate the sound of my voice. All right, let's get going. Wait, what is this saying? YouTube Creator Studio. Connect with the stream goes. What did it say? Audio streams. Something about the stream's audio, but it looks like it's doing okay. Suggestion. The stream's current bitrate. The audio stream's current bitrate. I have it set up, though. I don't fucking know. Found. Well, whatever. We're going to stream. If it gives me an issue, I will fix it while if it shows up. I'll leave this down. Actually. How was that? I have ghosts here, I swear. Ghosts. All right. Push that over there. All right, so I'm going to start right now. So let's get started. And we'll go from there. I know the beginning is a little chore to get through. What is this? He has a whole fucking song to go in the beginning. This is a little cringe, bro. I mean, I have seen some of his stuff that he covers, and it's interesting, but I mean, I don't really believe much of it. Open your eyes.
Little genre for so long, and being on that show opened me up, honestly, to some of the craziest and most controversial topics and people on the internet. And I, for one, have always been a fan of like powerful, creative, artistic people, especially early adopters of certain things. Some people know as an early adopter of digital audio technology. I was making music on computers before most people knew that that was even possible. So I really have this tremendous respect for people who break new ground or use their creativity with technology in interesting ways. And tonight's guest, darksydephil, is one of those people. Now, to be honest, darksydephil is a hero to some and a villain to many others. He was an early video game competitor before a lot of people even knew that there was game competitions, but also
just trying to make sure it's not peaking audio. It looks like it's peaking sometimes.
Some people say he may have invented that term, let's play.
He didn't.
And then the game that you're playing, and of course, video game streaming. And he's been at this for many years, which really has earned him a permanent place in internet pop culture. And
For better
regardless
or
of
worse.
where you stand on tonight's guest, love him or hate him, he has become one of the most controversial people on the internet. Um, and as I said before, most people even realized like that you can make a full-time living playing video games. Darksydephil was there doing it, and he's been doing it ever
Begging from the
since. So
start. He
really,
sure has.
no one can deny that he deserves some credit for that. But it got me thinking, at what cost? What was the price of that? Because along with success of becoming a professional video game player, there came a great deal of trials, tribulations. Of course, we all know there's all these controversies about him, disputes, detractors, you know, wins, losses, failures, some would say. So tonight we're going to try to go deep on all of this. And a note on support for tonight, since we have this guest here for a limited time, I always keep my commitment. We read every single super chat and we thank every single gifted membership or gifted subs over on Kick, and we thank everybody. But I'll be doing that after the interview is completed. I just think it would be rude.
So you're gonna piss Phil off and pull pull a side scrollers basically and do it after the fact, and Phil's gonna get pissed off, even though Phil does the same fucking thing. Only Phil is allowed to have a decompression stream. No one else is allowed to have a decompression stream. Just Phil.
If we keep interrupting the guests to praise cash every few minutes. But we do thank you for your generosity and support, and what a generous crowd it is, because before the show even began,
wow, what a great crowd, guys.
Shuck gifted 10 free YouTube memberships, which is why you should subscribe right away, because if you subscribe, if you're a subscriber but not yet a YouTube channel member, and some kind and generous person gives memberships, you might win a free one. So I'm going to just run through the live chat real quick and shout out Ralphie Mail with a kind.
All right, I'm going to leave this running. I'm going to grab a drink, so I'll be right back.
Basketball Americans. Yeah, I'll try and do that. We're going to try. We have a lot of stuff to go through. I was just talking about this board I have next to me with all these Post-it notes on it, but we're going to try to get through that. And we thank those who gifted the memberships, and I lost one. Well, let's see. We have, Mr. Feel Nothing sent a super chat saying, please don't let Phil lie to you. He lies a lot. I mean, come on, guys. Listen, can we be kind and respectful to the guest tonight at least? An uncreative deconstruction. With a kind and generous $5 says, praise the cash, ack. Yeah, so after this point in time, and feel free to let me know if I've forgotten a super chat, uncreative deconstructionism, thank you very much. So the support going forward, we're going to be reading after the interview. Like I said, I just think it's kind of rude, because I know there's going to be a lot of them, but I will read every single one. I'll give some additional commentary. And if we hit the goal tonight, maybe I'll eat some delicious RB sandwiches. I'll put a vest on, a hat on. I don't know. We have different goals. Usually I just do overtime. We don't have those interesting goals like DarksydePhil. So the rest of the support will be read after the interview portion, but I give you my commitment. I read every single one, so don't be shy about that. I'll be sticking around to interact with the live chat. I'm going to give some extra commentary on all of this, because this has been a crazy week of research and trying to figure this all out.
Oh, it's definitely been a wild week altogether.
Watching that don't want me to be very, very kind, and I'm going to do my best to do that. Be kind and gentle to him, somebody reminded me. And I'm going to try my best to be fair, but they should know that I've been investigating Phil's history for a couple of weeks now, and I found some things that I wouldn't be doing my job tonight unless I asked him some very hard questions about some of the controversies in his history and what my investigation uncovered. And conversely, I'm sure there's an awful lot of detractors, haters, trolls, call them what you will, that are watching and want me to humiliate him or even crucify him here. But that's not my goal. That's not what we're here. Our goal tonight is simple. I want to get to the truth about DarksydePhil, one of the most controversial people on the internet. So we've got limited time. I will be monitoring the live chat. If we have time, maybe he'll do some viewer questions, but we're going to begin and welcome
that didn't happen.
One of the most controversial people on the internet, DarksydePhil. Welcome.
Oh, the camera's on? The camera's been on the whole time?
Oh
what's going on, man?
Really?
How you doing?
Yeah, I hope you weren't beating one off while we were waiting.
Well, I did a really quick cleanup job. Don't worry. I took
I don't know. I heard the last time you did no cleanup, but we'll get to that. So, listen, DarksydePhil, first of all, thanks for doing this, because I know you have this huge following, and whether it's hate watchers or not, I don't know, but you got a big following, and we've got so many people already, almost 700 people watching already. So, wow, thank you for helping give a boost to my channel.
Wow,
so I've done, I've done all the research into you, but I want to hear from you. So you start off as a competitive gamer, mostly Street Fighter, right? And you went all over the country competing with all the best players, right?
That's right. I grew up
against
a fan of video games. I was actually introduced to video games by my uncle at a very young age. He was actually playing like a flight simulator on his computer in the 1980s when I was just visiting his house. And I was like, what the heck is that? and
I
he
remember
saw how
those
much
PC, those early ones, all
Oh.
blocky CGA and
all
shit.
wireframe, not even anything rendered.
Oh,
Right?
wow,
See right
yeah.
through everything. And he saw that I liked the game, and he gifted me his Atari 7800 console, and I brought it home. I was like fascinated, right? He gave me all
Man,
this-
you were spoiled. I started with Atari 2600. Phil, I showed my 8-year-old son who's a gamer Atari, and he was like, are you for real, Dad? He's like, it's like stick figures. Because you know why I showed him that? Because he was complaining about the graphics on some game of his not being good enough.
Wow.
And I was like, do you know what I had? Let me show you.
We were using a lot of imagination when we were playing video games. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
and the box
Yeah, I
art
know,
looked nothing like the game.
the beginning
Oh,
of
yeah,
this
there
is
would
just
be some
kind of like
distorted,
boomer
like
talk.
painting or masterpiece. Like, oh, it's gonna be like
It's a bunch of
freaking
old
crazy
people
Leonardo
talking
da Vinci
about
painting in here,
older
and you turn on
games
the
and
Yeah,
shit.
or a hot barbarian chick, right? Like a hot
Right.
barbarian chick. Then you get
That's
the game. And
peaking. Let me
just
turn
looks
this down a
terrible.
little bit.
So
It's-
then,
he's
but
still
after
all
that, you
loud.
sort of, I hate to rush, but we got
It's
so much
fine.
to get through. So after that, you figured out that you could just broadcast yourself before anybody was doing this. Really, you figured out that you could just broadcast yourself playing games. And this was pretty crude when you started. I know you get a lot of shit
It's
about
still
this.
crude
because you
now to
kept
this
the
day.
crude
He
setup
hasn't
for too
really
long, right?
improved
You just put a
all that much.
webcam on a TV.
Oh, but my
and just played
background,
like that, right?
Not even
guys,
that
looks
sophisticated.
different.
It was actually a
Eh.
super old digital camera that I had from like the early 2000s. It
Oh,
didn't even do
Lord.
HD. It was like a 480p camera. Only did a small 4:3 aspect ratio. So I had to actually angle it to fit my widescreen TV into the shot because it
Oh,
wasn't the
wow.
proper aspect ratio. And for me, when I started doing it, I started actually doing videos every day in 2008. And I was inspired by guys like the Angry Video Game Nerd or the Nostalgia.
Oh, I
Kid.
like that guy. I
You
like
know,
that guy.
These were guys who they had absolutely no production budget, right? They didn't have a lot of money to sink into these projects, but they had talent. They were funny. They could film well.
Oh,
And I
the
said,
Angry Video Game Nerd, his early videos were like incredible. And
Yeah.
and what a concept. Like, I'm gonna play Nintendo games and yell about them. But
Right.
it took off. He got so successful. He still is.
So I'm looking at this, and it's I had been into competitive Street Fighter, but I got a really bad lower back injury. I had a severely herniated disc, so I couldn't travel anymore to play Street Fighter. And I was like, I want to get back into games, but I see guys like the AVGN, and I'm like, I wonder if I could do something more than just playing for myself. So one day, just on a whim, I just set up a tripod. I put this old ass camera in front of the TV. I started recording and just basically just saying whatever came to my mind. And it was at first just kind of observational. But as I started uploading videos and people started watching them, they were like, it's a teen audience, especially back then on YouTube. It's a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
So what do they want to hear? They want to hear like, swearing constantly.
I mean, this is already a lie because like Phil knew that eventually that gameplay stuff was going to be able to be monetized. And at this point in time, he was already making vlogs before that already anyway on his vlog channel. And he was monetized on his vlog channel. He just wasn't monetized for gaming yet because he wasn't able to be monetized for gaming. But he knew eventually he would be able to be monetized for gaming, so he started making video game content. But he was already monetized over on his vlog channel anyway, so he's already being lying or withholding information here.
Similar to what the AVGN would do. They want to hear sexual comments. They want to hear you talk shit to the people you're playing in video games and stuff like that.
Oh, come on,
Well, it
Phil.
was
Is this
all
your
a
excuse for saying a
character.
lot of wacky shit back then?
Oh,
Because you
dude.
still get crap. People find clips that are 15 years old of you saying something like about a girl or like.
Back then, there was absolutely nothing.
It was a Wild West. It was a Wild
Exactly.
West.
There was
Yeah.
no cancel culture. It was just like say whatever you want and see what happens. And that's exactly how I treated it.
cancel
And
culture
it took
back
off.
then.
Like I thought this was going to be something stupid and like 5 people would watch. And within like 2 months of me making these random clips, I was getting sometimes tens of thousands of views per clip. And the clip.
And again, back then, there wasn't as much variety or options to choose from back then. So he was kind of like, because he started out on the ground floor, he got like popular really because he didn't have a whole lot of competition back then. So it's not like, I mean, he didn't invent anything. There were people doing the same thing he was doing back then. But at the same time, it wasn't as much variety as there is now on YouTube, obviously. So
clips were like a few minutes long. So my channel's taken off. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, why are people watching this? The quality's terrible and everything, right? But after
why
people
are
kinda
they
egged me
watching
on
it?
and say, hey,
Still is
we like your
terrible.
content, keep going, but can you improve it? So I bought an HD camera. I started doing a bigger
Oh
variety
yeah,
of
that made a
games.
difference.
I started playing multiplayer games, and it just kind of grew and extrapolated from there. I did it for about 2.5 years as a hobby. I had a full-time job. I worked an office job, but then the company downsized and I got laid off. And I was like, uh-oh, what am I going to do now? I just bought a new place because I could live closer to this job for a smaller commute. And I was in a bad way. But luckily, I'd been doing this YouTube thing for 2.5 years. And I said, I wonder if there's any way that I could like make a living doing this. Well, give it a few months of trials and
that from the
tribulations. I got
start.
partnered with a company called Machinima. They started slapping ads on all my videos. I
After
started
you
making
begged
Well, that
them.
didn't end well, though, did it?
not much ends well for me, as you know, if you followed my history.
Yeah, you have this, but dude, it's peaks and valleys, right? Like
that's exactly right. Just like
somebody
anything else,
somebody
right?
told me this when I was having a really tough
let me
time trying
take
to
a
grow
sip
my
from
show
my
and channel. They're like, dude, it's
marketed
peaks and
cup
valleys. Like you're not
that looks like
gonna
shit.
have like every show be huge and pick up, the algo won't pick it up. So you got to be okay with those
I
peaks
guess
and
the
valleys. You've had a
algo.
bunch of those kind of peaks and valleys, I would say.
That's
Because
right.
then what was it? There was the machinima deal, and then that went to shit, and then you got another deal with another company, but then one company kind of scammed you, and they
Oh yeah.
pretended that they had the juice to give you what you needed, but then they didn't, and there was less money.
Yeah, they honey
Right?
did them.
It's so crazy, like the whole ecosphere of YouTube and how there was these companies that were predatory and stuff, and were trying to get people signed to contracts, and then they would not pay them. It was really, really bad. If anything, that's one of the best things YouTube has ever done, is kind of like did away with all those partner networks where they're not needed anymore, because that was just a big problem in my opinion. You know, the only reason I ever partnered with Machinima, YouTube back in the day would not let you put ads on video game footage. They thought that's too risque. Like, oh, they might get hit with a copyright strike because you're playing someone else's game. But if you partnered with a company
Hey,
like
Doomer
Machinima,
Ziggy, how you doing?
Machinima was kind of taking that responsibility. So if you get hit with the claim, they got to deal with it.
They have to deal with it. Yeah.
So then I got to monetize my gameplay, and that's where it took off, and I started making big bucks doing it.
Yeah, and speaking of
We
the
just
big
got to
bucks,
get through
I
this
did get a
boomer
lot of
talk
questions, and
at the
listen, a
beginning.
lot of the questions I'm going to be asking are coming from viewers, not me. So
Mhm.
don't get pissed at me, Darksydephil.
No, use your show. I'm going to hold you personally accountable for everything
Well,
that happens to you tonight.
a lot of
I mean,
people
you
have
have
said
in the
to say
past.
things like, "This guy has made millions of
With side
dollars.
scrolls,
Where
you
did it
did.
all go?"
Mhm.
And I guess especially, you know, in case you're not aware, like I mentioned right before we start broadcasting, that you have a degree in finance. So people are kind of, I guess, understandably going like, this guy has a degree in finance. He's made at least $1 million since he started, but yet he always needs money, and that's a big criticism, you know. And by the way, I'm on
Yeah,
your
because
side.
he
Like, I have a
can't
viewer-supported
finance his
show.
own life
I
at
hate
all.
asking for money, so I
He
make a
lives
joke of
outside
it.
of his
Like, I
own
get
means all the time.
televangelists, clips
He lives
to
way
ask for the
outside of
money
his
so I don't
means.
have to, and just I make a joke of it. Like, I
Like,
understand that you're on,
I'm sorry, like, I know I'm already pausing a lot already, but like, if you went to finance, or if you have a degree in finance or whatever, and you make over 130, and that's even a low end estimate of $130,000, and you can't make ends meet with that, like, you have some issues, some serious spending issues. But it's arguable if he actually is struggling, or if he's just crying broke, because obviously he probably is over exaggerating a bit
under the gun,
and
and
isn't as bad off as
you
he
got to
loves to
pay your
pretend that
bills.
he
But
is. But
you know, people
still,
are pretty critical about, like, you made $1 million. What happened to the money?
The
Like, what's
thing
with
is,
the money,
yeah,
Phil?
where'd all
when
the
you're a
money go,
content creator,
Phil?
right,
Huh?
you're under a different eye of scrutiny. It really is true. Like anyone else who has a small business, they can make money, they can spend money however they want, but it's all kind of behind closed doors and no one really cares. But
It's
when
not
you're
Well,
public.
usually,
Yeah.
if they own a business and they're spending money, they're not wasting hundreds of $1,000s on WWE champions as a mobile game, Phil.
when you're someone who puts yourself in front of the public every day, all of a sudden people start to say, well,
Well,
that's
you
really
are a
funny 'cause we
public
know that he did
figure,
really
and
good, but
you
why is he saying
you
he
were
needs
the one
more?
who made
If
it
he
about
made
money,
so and so
Phil. No
amount,
one
then
else
why
did.
is he doing an event where he needs to raise money and yada yada yada? Yeah, I've told my story many
Well,
times.
yada,
I will
yada,
certainly tell it to you
yada.
again here tonight of my very, very bad financial decisions that I made over the years that ran me into a bankruptcy and all that
So
stuff.
many
Luckily,
bad
I have
ones.
recovered from that, thankfully, and I'm getting much better
Oh,
off
that's
now
good
than I
news. I'm
ever have
glad for
been.
you. And you know, listen, I have
How
a
did it
background
go?
in finance too. Like, I worked in corporate accounting. You know, sometimes that's what you got to do so that you could get out from underwater and then fix your whole world, really. You know,
That's
like,
right.
so did you just kind of fall into too much credit card debt, or you know?
It's a combination of factors. Factor number one is that I had a condo that I bought in Connecticut. We
You
had just
can
mentioned this.
do.
When I had the office job, I had bought a condo right near the job so that I could commute back and forth. It was much easier than where I'd previously lived. And I had that condo. And then around 2014, when I was actually quite popular, much more popular than I even am today, and I was making a lot more money,
Yeah,
I
you're
wanted to
definitely
move. I
not
wanted to get
popular
out
at
of
all
Connecticut because
today.
that's actually where I lived. I lived in Connecticut at first, but it was too expensive there. Like the taxes are sky high, and I just wanted to move somewhere that I heard was
Taxes,
nicer. And I
man.
always heard people say, "Oh, Washington State is really nice, great. You know, you get all the evergreens out here.
You
There's
just
nature
moved
and
to
all of
another
that."
state because people told you it was nice. Didn't you go check it out first?
I did. My aunt, first of all, my aunt lived here for many years, and she was always a big fan and proponent. And then I actually came out here for like a vacation to test it out, and I was here for over a week doing things here, seeing if I liked it, and I ended up liking it a lot. And so in
All right, well,
2014,
that makes sense. I was confused for a second. I was like,
Even though he shits on Washington State and how green it is and how liberal it is all the time, he's constantly shitting about how it's green and they're doing recycling and all this other shit. Why did you move there if you hate everything about it? You like, to be honest, the only reason he moved to Washington State was because he thought there was no state tax at all. That's why.
this guy, but you're talking to a guy who once moved to Wisconsin for a girl.
Oh,
And
wow.
I never knew Wisconsin or how cold it was. Boy, did I,
No.
dude, it gets -40. I made it one winter there with this girl, and it's a shame because she was so beautiful. She was like model-esque gorgeous, but I just couldn't do the winters. I got on a plane and got home right after the first winter, dude.
Wow.
She'd tell you stuff like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm taking out the trash. She's like, it's -40. You can't go outside. You might die. I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't go outside or I might die. So
Damn.
yeah.
That's definitely something I researched was like there's other states in the United States where I could have moved because I'm an online content creator. I don't need to be physically
Yeah, you
anywhere,
can
right?
live in. You know
All
what?
those
I know a
states that
guy who lives
didn't
in
have
Bali,
state taxes.
and he
like
does his, and
Texas
he only
and
has an audio podcast,
Florida.
but he makes a good living. And Bali's cheap, according to him. I don't know where he's living, but yeah, you can live anywhere. That's
Right.
one of the benefits, freedom.
I was researching like what would be the best states to go to, and honestly, like financially, Florida and Texas are perfect because they actually have laws in place that protect small businesses. They don't tax you very highly. Real estate taxes are low.
The
Everything there
taxes,
is low.
yep.
The problem is the weather. So you can't take the cold, dude. I cannot take humid heat. I can't. It drives me nuts. Like I just can't take it. I've been
I
to
grew up in-
Florida.
I don't
I
think
grew up in
any
Philly,
human can
so
take
if you wanna
negative
talk about
40-degree
humidity,
weather. It's
you
not
know?
getting
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
so I decided I wanted to move somewhere that had like a moderate climate, and here in Washington, it's like middle of the road almost all year. We get like maybe a month and a half, 2 months of summer, but outside of that, it's pretty nice in between all the time.
But he's the
So,
one who's
I
always
moved out
bitching about how hot it is in his office and everything. Come on, Phil.
here, but I still had this condo in Connecticut, and my aunt was going to live
My
there.
aunt.
We were gonna do like a swap. I'm moving to Washington. She's moving to Connecticut to be near my parents, who are still in Connecticut, and she's gonna live in my condo. So she's paying me
And she
to live
fucked
there
it all up.
temporarily,
It's all
and
her
that's how I was
fault,
gonna
this
have the income
bitch.
to pay for 2 mortgages, basically.
Uh-huh.
She gets sick and has to go into hospice care and passes away within 2 years.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry.
Out of nowhere.
It's this
Like, no one
bitch's
expected it.
fault. She had
So
to get
now
sick.
I'm stuck with a condo in Connecticut that I'm stuck paying. And I'm like, well, can I sell it? No, the condo's underwater because after I move, the real estate
Happens.
market tanks.
Yeah.
So I can't sell it. I don't have tens of thousands of dollars to pay.
You still could have sold it. It was not that much more. Like, and if I remember correctly, like, he was talking to a realtor who was trying to sell it to him, and the realtor wanted to talk to him on the phone in order to set things up so he could try to sell it for him. And Phil didn't want to answer the phone. He was too afraid to even talk on the phone to his own realtor. He wanted to do it all over email. And the realtor's like, no, I got to talk to you physically, dumbass. And Phil's like, no, I don't want to. And he just didn't answer it. And the realtor's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. And he just ended up like dropping out and not selling it for him. So it's like, you could have fucking sold it. Obviously, you would have taken a hit and had to pay the difference off the fucking dues or whatever for the actual whatever you owed left of the condo because it wasn't fully paid off. You would have had to pay the difference, but wouldn't that have been better than paying 2 fucking mortgages at the same time, dumbass?
If the mortgage company that I owe more on the mortgage than the house is worth if I sell it, I tried doing a short sale. They denied it. They wouldn't let me do it. Like I couldn't do anything, right? So I'm stuck in this financial situation. At the same time, all that's happening, I very much overextended myself out here when I first moved out here. Like I paid a ton of money to move across the country. I got railroaded for that freaking move. They ended charging me almost $10,000.
Yeah, you need
just to move
an
across the country.
18-wheeler to go from coast to coast. It's going to be
Yeah.
expensive.
And then
Yeah.
I furnished the house from top to bottom. And, basically I went from having money in the bank to spending all of it and then going into big credit card debt and stuff like that. And I'm thinking in my head, it doesn't matter. I'm a big YouTuber, right? This gravy train's going to last. Boy, I'm an idiot, right? What a moron. Because what happened was the bottom fell out and the internet kind of turned their opinions on me, started not to like me. And next thing you know, my views are down. My revenue's down. I got people.
No, Phil, come on. People were starting to shit talk and not like you from day one, okay? It's like, it happened way before 2014, Phil. Come on. Like, even when This Is How You Don't Play first came out, like, I think was, like, before that, and you go back and you look at the comments on his videos, and people were talking shit about Phil way back then. Like that, it's not like, oh, it just randomly changed suddenly, and all of a sudden these people coming out of the woodwork and don't like me. They didn't like you from the start. Well, the ones that don't like you didn't like you from the start. Like, yeah, you were more popular back then, yes, but you still had haters even back then, Phil. It's not like they just showed up out of nowhere.
Hitting me with false copyright strikes on my channel that are completely illegal, but YouTube doesn't care.
Oh, I went through that with a pirate. I had a copyright pirate that was copyright all this shit. It took me months to get over it and write all the letters and fight it all.
Right. And so my channel, which actually was one of like the top 50 gaming channels ever on the internet, was kicked out of YouTube's algorithm because of all these copyright issues. And
Yeah,
now
it
my
was
channel-
only because of that. It wasn't because you were boring and you were being left behind by people who were evolving and switching to digital direct capture while Phil was still using the same old fucking camcorder. Everyone else was surpassing him, evolving and using direct capture and blowing him out of the water. And that's what caused him to actually start being left behind in the algorithm. Not detractors, Phil. You're blowing past that and lying already, but
channel wasn't getting any more
whatever.
extra views during the busy gaming season of the year. I lost a ton of money. So I was
So
still
you're
making good
obviously
money, but,
seeing
like,
how a narcissist handles things. Like, he retcons all the fucking time. Obviously, we all know that. That's not anything new. And of course, when it comes to someone who DSP is talking to someone who he thinks doesn't know anything about DSP, he can lie his ass off and spout all these lies and be like, no, this is what really happened. It's all the detractors' fault. I would still be that popular today if it wasn't for the... No, it wasn't. It was your fault. You were lazy. You didn't want to adapt to the times and change. You're still today, you are acting like it's 2020, 2014. You're still in the past today. You're still a fucking dinosaur today, Phil.
half as much as I used to. So now I'm paying 2 mortgages, not getting the income from my aunt anymore like I expected. I got credit card debt up to on my eyeballs. I'm making minimum payments on all of it because I'm not making enough money to pay down anything anymore. And it just got me into this really bad financial situation that essentially had me change the kind of content I made and who I was on.
And that's understandable because listen, I got a wife and 2 children and a household to take care of. It's tough enough to just take care of one house, let alone 2.
Yeah.
I have this little cabin in the Poconos, but it's like, it's in the boondocks, and
This
taxes
is
are like
$1080p. It doesn't look 1080.
You don't
Like,
have,
the
a lot of
quality doesn't look
utilities there. It's
HD. This
off
is supposed to be
grid, so that I
1080p, but
can
look how
afford, but
terrible
2 whole households,
his
they gotta pay the
webcam
electric
is. Jesus.
all the bills, the mortgages. Yeah.
Hey, Newt, how you
it's
doing?
bad. So what ended up happening was around 2017-ish, YouTube's ad revenue tanked because of the adpocalypse. So now on top of all this other stuff going on at the same time with me, now I got to like pivot. I'm like, I used to be a guy who only made on-demand videos. I did stream,
I'm pretty
but I
good.
didn't talk with
I'm
my
doing
audience.
good.
Like
You
now
didn't do a
today,
live show. Yeah. Now
Hey, we
then
were-
you transition to live. Yeah.
we are so interactive with our
Oh, yeah,
audiences
Phil
today. That's one
definitely
of the great things
transitioned
is, like, having a
alright.
relationship with people
Heyo.
who like you and your content. But back then it was like, I'm alone. I'm ignoring everyone who's watching me. I'm just going to make a video, right? But I had to change. So in 2017, I became a full-time live streamer. And
That's not the first time you became a live streamer, though, Phil. He's, again, leaving out the fact that he actually started Twitch when Twitch was just getting started. And if he had stayed on Twitch and kept doing it, he would have been a lot more popular. But he started on Twitch when it first was starting to get popular again, just like he did on YouTube. But he wasn't interacting with the audience at all. And then he said, this is stupid. And he deactivated his account and went back to YouTube. And then 3 or 4 years later, he comes crawling back to Twitch. Oh, but I transitioned to like
then
he,
ad
he's just
revenue
lying.
had to go, not really be my source of income anymore. I had to start asking the audience for contributions. That was a huge change for me. A big change.
Okay.
I tried my best for many years to try to maintain, but it got so bad. What it really was, as you mentioned,
He was fucking begging for money and contributions from the fucking start. You can watch ALT and the what is it, like his going back in time and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Go back and watch that. You can see that DSP was begging directly from the start. Even in his old cabin, even his own condo in Connecticut, he was still begging for views, begging for them to interact with his ads, which got him his YouTube partnership banned. Like, he was doing all that from the start. Oh, but no, the detractors are the reason I had to start begging for money. No, you were begging for money even when you were really popular and making a lot of money. You were still begging for money even then, Phil.
It was the credit card debt, because with those credit cards, even when you're paying minimum payments, they're not going down, and it got so unmanageable. And then on top of that, I basically got to the point where I couldn't even pay that mortgage in Connecticut anymore. And I'm like, what am I going to do if I stop paying? They're going to foreclose. So I had to go through a bankruptcy, and that's really where the turnaround was. Once I went through that and got all that revolving debt gone and that
He was
extra mortgage gone,
begging before
Phil,
that.
this is a source of a lot of the criticism about you is your financial choices. And I think that's largely due to the fact that you ask your audience, for money for bills and things. But when it comes to the when it comes to the bankruptcy, you know, people are very critical. Let me try to get that big. People are very critical. So
Mhm.
you had a, and I'm going to be, you know, listen, I had a job in corporate finance where I had to look at people's information like this all the time because
Mhm.
I was a credit analyst. And so I kind of know probably what happened here, but you're people that are very critical of you, you know, they say things like, I got a lot of messages like this, like he spent $131,000 in unsecured credit. Like, what did he buy? That's like a house almost.
Mhm.
Do you know what all this 131,000 comprised of? Or
It all started when like I said, when I moved out here, it was furnishing the house, buying all my new equipment, all of that. So you're talking, you know, tens of thousands of dollars to
BMW
start.
obviously was his
And then it just
car.
ballooned. And the reason it ballooned is because I didn't
Sam's
have an income
Club,
anymore to pay for
probably
anything.
groceries,
You know, I
but
had these two
still.
mortgages, I had all these bills, and I had half income from what I was previously making. So I had budgeted off of, oh,
Two different American Expresses, 3 different
YouTube channel basically
Citibanks,
declined and tanked,
Bank
I
of
lost
America,
so much
Capital
income
One,
that I now had to
Chase,
start putting
Lending
almost
Club,
everything on credit cards. And
Sam's Club,
I mean, listen how
US
stupid
Bank.
this is, all right? In my
Yeah,
logic in my head is, I'm
partridge in
panicking.
a
What am I
pear
going to do, right?
tree.
I'm thinking, I know what I'll do. I'll rack up this credit card that's 0% interest for a year, right? I'll keep it on there for a year and make payments, but then what I'll
And
do
then
is
he
at the
would
end of
keep
the year,
switching
I'll
it to a
transfer that
different one,
card
like an
to another
idiot.
card that's 0%
Because he
on
didn't want
balance
to pay
transfer,
back
right?
the
And
debts
then
that
I'll
he was
send
you know, to be
borrowing.
honest, that sometimes works. Like my wife and I have done that.
Well,
But
if
we're
you're
very
smart,
careful to transfer at the right time, and she
yes,
does the math. Is the fees to transfer it worth it? You know,
right.
like, and you know, it wasn't even extravagant amounts. I think one time we did 3,000 for a big for appliances we needed, like a washer, dryer, and a refrigerator.
Right.
So that can sometimes be a good strategy, but not if you don't move it off before the interest kicks in.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and
And
DSP
Screw
so
isn't
up on
the
that,
most
Mr.
smartest
Finance
person,
Major.
even though
I screwed up on
Mr.
so much. I
Finance
did. Like,
Major,
first of
yeah,
all,
exactly.
I was basically living on credit that I had gotten when I was a popular YouTuber and was making way more. So
So
I had
your
all these
credit was based on a higher income that you had then lost.
exactly. So
I
here
mean,
I
that's
am
fair.
sitting with all this credit that I can use, and I'm like, oh, maybe my channel will come back. Maybe things will turn for the better. Maybe I'll be able to sell the
Nope.
condo in Connecticut eventually. Things will turn around, and I'm just kind of like, I hope. Well, you can't live on hope. You got to live on reality, right? But that was me being stupid and being ignorant and being dumb and making bad
He's
choices.
still not living in reality, though,
So,
Bale.
you know, you start off with, let's say, 20, 30,000 in credit card debt, but then all of a sudden it's going up because you got fees, because you got the interest, and I'm not, you know, I'm making minimum payments, juggling everything. Then you stop paying things, and that's not good. You know what I mean? So it just got so bad.
Sorry, then they default, and then there's
Oh
charge
God.
offs, and that screws up your credit, so you can't get additional credit to try
Right.
to fix your situation.
So I got to the point where there was no way out. Like, there was no way I was ever going to pay any of this debt. There was no way I could afford it. I couldn't sell the condo. I was dying to get rid of this thing.
You
and
could
they
have
wouldn't
sold
let
the
me short
condo,
sell it.
actually.
I couldn't
but
find anyone to like help me out at all. So I
You
had to go through
did. You were
bankruptcy.
in talks with a fucking realtor who was trying to sell it for you. But again, you didn't want to answer the goddamn phone to talk to him. So don't lie and say you didn't have anyone to sell it for you. You did.
It was like the only way out, really. When I was trying for years to avoid it, and then I was basically at my breaking point. You know,
Well, yeah, when you realize you have 130,000 in unsecured credit cards, it's going to take you 27 years to pay it back.
I can't imagine having that kind of debt. Like, I'm in debt, sure, but I don't have that kind of fucking debt. I have like maybe like roughly like, if I add everything together, maybe like 2,500. That's it. That's not a lot. But Jesus Christ, I can't imagine having like $131,000 in debt. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Even at a couple thousand a month, it would take you forever to pay it back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the situation that bankruptcy is for, right? To kind of let you get a reset when you get so far in debt, there's literally no way to climb out.
That's right. Yep. So the thing is, the bankruptcy got rid of the condo. It actually had me surrender the condo. So it was foreclosed upon. It got it out of my name. I wasn't responsible for that anymore. All the credit cards, you know, went away. I was still left with debt. I was still left with the mortgage on this house, with the car loan for my car.
Well, yeah, they can't pay that off.
So a few things that, you know, I wasn't able to get rid of. Like another thing that, of course, people all bring up, taxes, right? So
did he really expect the bankruptcy to get rid of the mortgage on his current condo or the mortgage on his car? Not mortgage, but the payment plan on his car. Did you really expect the bankruptcy to get rid of that?
I wasn't paying my taxes properly, and that's on me. You know, it's another thing I wasn't doing because I didn't have the money. And
yeah,
I
you
screwed it all up,
dumbass.
and I owed all this money to back taxes to the feds, and that still has to be
it's all
paid
my
off. So I still do have
tax
significant debt.
broker's
It's just that it's luckily
fault.
not killing me and choking me anymore. And I'm in a situation now where I'm making money and I can actually reinvest into my business and do.
And yet you're still begging to this
do better
day
for my family. You know, I've learned from those horrible choices that I made. I mean, it's on me.
You always say your family. Come on, dude. You got a wife and a cat. That doesn't count as
Thank
a family.
you,
right?
Steven.
That's absolutely ridiculous. So here's the funny part about that. Like, people say that, right? And it's like, okay, in the sense of a husband, a wife, and kids or whatever. No, I don't have, what do they call that? The nuclear family or something like that? No, I'm never going to have that. Like, we're not going to have kids. We made that choice together that we don't want to have children. But that doesn't mean that I don't have a family. I have
Oh, you're
other
right.
relatives,
I mean, you're
parents.
right. If you have other relatives, sure.
Yeah, I got my wife. We do have a cat that's essentially like our son. No, he's not a human son, but basically he's our responsibility, and we take care of him. We spend
This is
a heck of a lot of
cringe.
time with him. His
I'm a
cat's son.
pet parent, guys.
So it's ridiculous because people act like, for example, one of the people who gives me shit for that is Review Tech USA. He's another YouTuber, and he rags on me saying, "Oh, Phil says he has a family. He doesn't
I'm
have
familiar. Isn't this the guy that just made his ex-wife shave him or some shit? It was
Yes.
just on Kino last night. I'm
Yes,
trying
the guy whose name is Review Tech, but he doesn't know how to build a PC live on his own show. It's pretty funny, right? So,
Well, yeah.
but I mean, this guy is ragging on me.
I
saying
mean,
I
that
don't
was
have a family,
probably
that this guy
scripted in my
also has
opinion, but
insane problems with his own family situation that he puts forward publicly in his content all the time. So why would you try to criticize someone else? I think it's just semantics. It's not, if people really don't think someone has a family because they don't have kids, I guess you can argue that if you want to. But if you look it up in a dictionary, it doesn't say you have to have kids to have a family. So whatever.
So if you look it up in the dictionary, really,
I understand.
really,
You got a lot of disputes with those kind of people, right? Like Review Tech and Keemstar and a lot of other content creators you seem to be battling with.
yeah, he
kind of
does.
take shots at you and you take shots at them.
Well, yes and no. I don't really take shots at them. What it is about.
Oh, yes,
I'd
you
say
do.
about
You
10
take
years ago,
shots
it
at
probably
them.
happened about
What
the time
are
I
you
moved
talking
out of
about?
Connecticut to Washington State. It became a viral movement on the internet to essentially make fun of darksydephil.
Oh my
Because before
god.
those years of 2008 to 2014, I was actually seen as one of the biggest gaming YouTubers, and people respect me.
No, people were still shitting on you back then. Stop lying, Phil. Even if you go back to 2014 and before, you look at the comment sections, and people were still shitting on you for being a terrible YouTube player. YouTube player. Video game player back then, Phil.
Me. People reached out to me with opportunities. Like I said, I partnered with Machinima. I'm going to E3.
It didn't just randomly start all the time because Evil AJ.
And there's many reasons for it. If you want to get into them, that's up to you, because I know you have many questions to ask me tonight.
No,
but
yeah, let's try to move forward. Actually, I told you I had this whole board here next to me with Post-it notes. I don't want to miss anything. So, listen, the next question I'm going to ask you may be considered like private medical information, and if you don't want to answer this, then I understand. But
it depends. Let's see what it is.
But let me explain this to you.
Okay.
I have a son who is autistic, severely autistic, nonverbal. In fact, he doesn't speak. But I've been around a lot of autistic people because of raising my son. He's 12 now, and one of the big criticisms about you is you're constantly asking for support, constantly asking for money. And I don't know, I've been observing some of this. So I wanted to ask you, have you ever been diagnosed with being on the spectrum or having Asperger's?
When I was growing up, that stuff, no one ever talked about any of that stuff at all. I doubt that a single doctor would have ever even like done a test or measured anything like that when I was growing up, unless you were like showing overt signs outward of stuff like that. No one ever talked about that stuff. You know what I mean? So no, I've never had a test. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe there is and maybe there isn't. I wouldn't know.
Well, I think and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just an observer here, an outsider looking in, but it seems to me that you have a little bit of trouble like comprehending social norms. Like, for example, like do you have a perception of like how many times during an average stream that you ask for support or money? Because that's one of the big criticisms too.
Like, do I count? No, I do not, because it's actually
can it take a guess?
Because it's like, I mean, I'm not as old as Phil. I'm 38, right? So I'm not obviously as old as Phil, but I know growing up in the 90s, like autism wasn't as well known or talked about, or like I don't think the doctors really knew as much about autism as they do now. So they weren't so quick to do tests to see if a kid's had autism back then or not, as they do now. Because now it's like even the slightest sign that a kid might show some kind of autistic traits, they'll like have them to be tested. But back then it's like you really had to be like lower functioning, hard to even freaking do anything in order to get tested. The kid get tested for that. And usually that was more severe, again, lower spectrum kind of thing. So there's a lot of people that probably had autism as kids in the 90s that went undiagnosed because they weren't showing obvious signs or had some signs.
It's directly proportionate to how much support I got during that stream. You know what I mean?
So if you don't get support, you ask for it more. That's what you're saying.
Ask and you shall receive.
Okay, but do you understand that turns a lot of people off?
Oh, yeah, no, he's 100% an asshole, and he's clearly has some mental illness. Like, I don't think it's autism. I think it's more like narcissistic personality disorder and possibly bipolar disorder. But I don't actually think he's autistic. I think it's just a lot more other mental
But I'm going to
illnesses.
include this. You know, I'm not a big
Because
gamer,
I
but
suspect, like, I've never been officially tested for autism, but I suspect I'm on the spectrum. But even if you're on the spectrum, unless you're lower functioning, you don't act like he fucking acts. You know what I mean? Even I can fucking tell the difference between that.
son is. In fact, though, we're having a real problem with him with screen time. I just got him a new game today for his Nintendo, and we're trying to cut him down on screen time because it seems to me he's 8 years old. He's a big gamer. PlayStation VR,
Wow.
Switch, and he watches video game streamers. He watches Ninja and he watches Hassan and who is the XQC he watches. And I asked him out of the blue, I'm like, do you ever watch Darksydephil? He goes, no. I go, do you know who that is? He goes, yeah. And I go, well, you watch these other guys, don't you like his show? And he goes, I watch them sometimes, but he asks for money all the time. And I almost was going to clip a video of him talking about this, but I said, I'm not going to hit you with that. But like, there is a perception even among people, and I swear I didn't coach him. I didn't know he knew who you were, but he's always either playing a video game or watching a streamer. So I thought maybe he knows who you are. He did know who you are. And by the way, he told me to tell you that he could beat you at what is it, Friday Night Freddy? He could beat you at any of those games, just so you know.
What, Street Fighter? Like when I play
Friday Night at Freddy's, I guess.
Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, that's not really a competitive game, to be honest. Like, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's is usually a single player game.
I hate those games. I suck ass. I would never.
I heard you're going to be doing a marathon. He's always playing them, but like
there could be. Yeah, we might be doing.
But what I'm saying, Phil, is that there's this perception that I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Like in my world, it's customary to ask for support once, maybe twice through the stream. Like if you take a break in the middle, when you come back, you say something. But like, did you know there's a whole YouTube channel dedicated just to counting the number of times that you ask?
Big ups, funny.
Absolutely. There's entire like networks programs written to count the amount of times I say a single word in all of my content ever on YouTube.
And did you know
they're not using AI to count? And maybe it's wrong because the AI. No, I'm pretty sure they're physically counting.
There's an entire search engine called PigPigGo.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you can search by keyword. But
that's right.
Listen, I'm trying to help you here. I really am, because I understand why people are like, saying this stuff.
Big ups, funny.
And I thought they're got to be exaggerating. But then I found this Ferroni the Tractor. I'm sure it's what you would describe as one of your detractors.
I mean, they call themselves the Tractor. They have their name.
When you were playing Dark Souls, you asked for money 62 times. When you were playing Light Razzing, I don't know. He makes plays on words on the games you were playing. You asked for money 85 times. You tested a mic, and then you begged for money 31 times while testing the mic. And this one is just greed mode, beg count 58. Successful streamer beg 78 times. And I'm not going to play these videos because they're very disparaging. They like make you have a huge head and
no way.
Make it funny. Popeyes felt it, beg count 100. So to eat Popeyes, you begged for money 100 times. Flight Simulator, you begged for money 111 times. Call of Duty, you rage quit 9 times. They clip. And I got to tell you, I watched these with a counter going, he
Shadow of a cow
101 times in one stream. They clip them all and they put them together. I don't know what
that's what I'm saying. It's all done by hand. No one's using AI to count it.
Life is Strange, beg count 33.
It's just they go and actually count it by hand. 1, 2, 3.
Kingly begs count 65.
It's not incorrect. This is all accurate.
77 times.
And you can watch the video and count with them. And
Ban World, beg count 88 times. 145 begs in this stream. And all this person does, Phil, is go.
But I think DSP was trying to like, maybe it's AI or algorithm, and it's probably wrong because of that. I'm like, no.
Like amused by this. But I'm just wondering, like, do you realize that you ask for money that many times in one stream?
Well, first off, I've never watched any of this content, to make it clear. I don't actually know.
Doesn't matter
how truthful that is.
It is truthful.
I went through with a counter, Phil. He's right. I mean, unless he's like AI, he's got like CIA level AI to make these clips of you asking for money.
Making up clips. Yeah, I don't think it's deep fake, Phil.
Perspective of, I have no clue if anything that a detractor puts on the channel.
Trying to hand wave it away. It could be fake.
My perspective, right? I haven't seen that content. I can't really respond to it.
Well, let's watch it. Let's put it up,
no,
Steve.
I do.
We'll watch it together.
Contributions. Basically, as soon as I start my podcast, and if we're talking about how I did the day before, I'll mention, how we did, and I'll say, hey, let's hit the goals today. We
every
have
2 seconds,
Here's
Phil.
the rewards coming up. If we have a reward that's scheduled, we'll talk about that during each podcast. I'll mention it several times for sure.
Well, this is why I brought up the autism, because I don't know if you know this, but people with autism have like perceptual problems and social problems, and they don't recognize social cues. And like, that's what made me think that maybe you're on the spectrum, because a neurodivergent person or a person on the spectrum might not realize that they were asking that many times, and that this is what I'm saying. People
You're
with
giving
autism
him
also
too
have a
much
problem
credit,
with
Steve.
social norms.
You're
So,
giving
like,
him way
the
too much
social
credit
norm is
here.
ask for support once or twice.
He's just a
show.
greedy piece of
And I
shit.
think
It's
most
not
journalists would agree with
anything
that.
about that.
If you make 4 or 5, I don't know, but 88 times, 122 times, 56 times in one stream, it's a little bit extreme, and I think that's why your detractors go after you so much, because nobody. I'm not aware of anybody else. And this is what I did. I went to Twitch and I just started watching some random gaming streamers, and I got links from people to watch, and I watched from the beginning to the end.
That's what I'm surprised, honestly, because like you would think, with how much of a piece of shit Phil is, he would actually use it as excuse. Hey, you guys can't detract on me anymore because I'm autistic. That's being ableist. Because he would, like, if he knew what the word ableist meant, he would hop on that as an excuse instantly. Oh, look, my detractors are such assholes and such pieces of shit. They're being ableist and making fun of a mentally retarded person. You can't make fun of me. I'm mentally retarded. I am autistic. You can't fucking make fun of me for doing that. How dare you? You guys are assholes over here. He would 100% use that as an excuse if he was smart enough to. But I think his ego won't let him admit that he, like, even if he isn't, because like I said, I don't think he's actually autistic, but like I think that his ego won't allow him to even pretend to be autistic or claim that as an excuse.
And over on Twitch, at least, most of the gaming streamers,
because to him that means retarded. That means like mentally stunted or whatever. You know, the same insults he throws at us all the time, and he would be obviously a hypocrite if he went and tried to lie and say, "Oh, I'm mentally ill," or "I'm mentally stunted," or whatever. All of a sudden, even though he would be using that as an excuse, that would be him being a hypocrite, obviously, too.
You know, thanks for the support, gift some subs. Here's our goal tonight. And a lot of them didn't even have
But if he is smarter, he might try to use that as an excuse,
or the tips or the cheers or, you know, whatever. But they don't ask so many times. So I think that's why, you know, because it's just too much. You don't think it's too much?
But we're not here to help him.
So let me put it this way. The people who have issue with how much I ask are the people who benefit the most by bringing it up. It's that simple. People who make this kind of toxic content, an entire channel dedicated to counting how many times I ask for donations.
I agree. That's a little obsessive to count and to clip every single time that you ask for money together. But I have to say, Phil, regardless of whether you call them a detractor, they're factually accurate.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's the problem. They're factually accurate. Here's
the thing. I don't think that's a problem. I think that's a perception. Some people think it's a problem.
Don't you think some of the stuff is cringe?
Most normal people would think that's a problem.
It's meant to be cringe.
It's meant to be over
the top.
Oh yeah, okay. Here's the whole new fucking work here, right? Where you're like, oh, it's meant to be cringe. I'm purposely cringe all of a sudden. You bitch, like, didn't you like fucking ban a bunch of people because they said you were being fucking cringe? If this is like he's pretending that he's purposely trying to be cringe here. But, like, who was it that was like, fucking, oh, you're cringe, that's really cringy, Phil, and he banned them and went on this whole fucking tirade for the, like a dragon, right? And it was like, eat spoons out, fucking, what the hell was it? Eat spoons out of my ass. I mean, male spoons, you can eat my shit. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, bro, you banned, like, a bunch of people for calling you cringe. But now you're over here pretending that fucking it's cringy. You're cringy on purpose. That this is all an act. I'm like, no, it's not an act. You are cringy, but you're not doing it on purpose.
Later the night before that, you were like, we got to hit this goal because I don't
Stop
know
pretending that you are doing it on purpose.
We got to get the Arby's the next day.
It's not an act. He was being 100% serious when he was doing that.
Kind of a deflection, though. But don't you see how, like,
it's definitely
what if
deflection.
I said, like, look, I would consider this cringe. Like, what if I was on my show and I said, I'd like to order pizza for my kids because I don't feel like cooking, but I need to get $50 in super chats first.
Okay.
I would never do that because I would think that is so cringy.
Well,
was it King Be Cruel or was that someone else? I'm trying to think who that was.
Just ordering dinner
that he banned.
That's actually not what it is.
No, then you do the review of 3 sandwiches. Come on.
Right. Yeah, which is an ongoing series I've been doing over a decade. And I actually canceled the series and people gave me so much crap for like 5 years. These people were like, dude, why are you not doing the show anymore? We love DSP Trizzy. So I said, hey, you know what? I'm doing well.
AKA one person said that.
I think that could be popular. Who's that? There's a real nerdy guy that does food reviews on YouTube. And he's
Review of the week.
That dude's fun. Yeah. He's fun. He's nerdy as shit, but he just
I
all he does
fight
is
him though. Didn't you know that?
King and McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and whatever.
I was
Oh,
doing that way
pizza?
before he was. I just never blew up for it because I
Bullshit.
was a
Well,
gamer. So
early
that's what I was known
pioneer.
for.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
let's go back though before I forget, because I'll take another one off the board here.
Mhm.
So one of the questions I got most as well is that people, and I think this is again just a misunderstanding. I got so many people sending me messages going, how can he say his expenses are this much?
Mhm.
So this is just from the bankruptcy filing. 1 month you're saying 9,000 is in expenses, the next month 5,000, the next month 3,100, the next month 4,400, the next month 43, 49, 5,200. People are saying there's no way you could have that much in business expenses, but is this a combination of both business and personal expenses?
See, here's the thing, and this is why you have to understand when people start to bring this up. Anything that I say about this publicly at all, these people will take what I say, twist it, and then try to get me in trouble. All right. So I've been through this rodeo before. I don't mind you bringing this up. I'm going to tell you exactly from my
yeah,
perspective.
you got pissed off that he brought this up. Yeah,
about
okay.
this. Okay. So when I'm going through the bankruptcy, okay,
And he's just going to use the blanket excuse. Oh, well, I don't know. You're going to have to blame or talk to my bankruptcy lawyer. She's the one who added this all up and did all this. I didn't do anything. I'm not at fault here. But see, you gave her, what's the right word? You gave her the legal authority to speak on your behalf. So if this was ever audited by the IRS, it would still come down on you, not her. Just like your tax guy. That's you. Like you ended up paying for the quote unquote mistakes your tax guy made, Phil. So because you're still at the end of the day, you're still responsible for providing this information to the tax or the bankruptcy lawyer to provide to them. So you still somehow, like, even if you don't know off the top of your head, you gave them the information that made them fill it out. So it would come back to land on you for being responsible for this, Phil.
They have to provide all the information that they want. And boy, did they ask for a lot. They asked for
Sure.
everything.
I've been to bankruptcy hearings on the plaintiff side.
So you know all about how
Exactly.
detailed it can be. Let me
Like, how does he not know what his
perspective
fucking
here,
expenses
I was
are?
told, both by my bankruptcy attorney
I was
and
told.
the judge involved, that was the weirdest, most complex bankruptcy they ever had to do because my
you don't know what
detractors
you're
kept
doing,
messaging the
first
judge.
off.
Okay, like every 5 seconds, they were messaging the judge saying, "Well, did you know he has this? Did you know he made this? Did you?" So the judge is like, "What the hell is this? Like, I'm just trying to do the bankruptcy, and I got 1,000 people on the internet harassing me for this shit. I don't even know what this means. Just listen to this. I know this is a little side. You'll get a laugh out of this stuff. So when you do the bankruptcy, this has to be online. So this is public information. What you're seeing right here, you can find this online. One of the things that happened was that the initial filing didn't list my cat Jasper as a financial asset. Okay. Why? Because my bankruptcy attorney didn't do it. Okay. It's that simple. Now, normally in any bankruptcy proceeding,
You're still responsible for the information on that form, Phil. So you probably filled it out incorrect on the initial bankruptcy filing. And then she didn't look at it or double check it because she assumed all the information on there was correct. But again, he's just blaming the bankruptcy lawyer for all this shit. No, they're like, you're still responsible for the information you place on there. Because there was a section where it asked if you had any household pets that weren't like chickens or anything like that. It was like actual household pets, like a dog or a cat or whatever. And he put none. That's on you. That's not on anyone else.
No one would give 2 shits. But my detractors mass messaged the judge saying, Phil is lying to you and committing fraud.
Because you were, Phil. You were committing fraud. And to be fair, I kind of think that because so many people were interfering in this bankruptcy, that kind of made the judges and the lawyers kind of just like push it away, kind of not really investigate it as much as they should have. And maybe if there wasn't so many people interfering and calling and doing all this stuff, maybe they would have actually like investigated a little bit deeper. But because they were being badgered by so many people, maybe they're like, you know what, just fucking, well, whatever, push this through and let's get it done. Not to mention the fact that it was during COVID, and that really helped him out, because if he actually had to go to the court in person, I think it would have been ended differently than what it did also. But at the end of the day, you, Philip, are still responsible for explaining what this is, because this is all information that came from you. And do you think that a finance major who went to business, got a business degree, doesn't know his own fucking expenses? We all know you're writing like everything fucking off. We all know your electricity is being written off. Your fucking mortgage, or most of it, is probably being written off. Oh, I can't do my job if I don't have internet, so my whole internet bill is being written off. You know all that shit's being written off. I can't do my job being online if I don't have a house covering my head, guys.
Bankruptcy through. He has a cat. He didn't tell you. So
well, that's kind of petty.
And the judge had to hold a special meeting with myself and my attorney, asking us why we didn't do this. Are we trying to scam?
Yeah, exactly.
So when this happened, the bankruptcy got blown into the most complex shit. I had to go through line by line by line of all the things that I spent.
So if you did go line by line by line, then you would know what your business expenses were, Phil. If you actually went line by line by line with the judge, you should know what the fuck your business expenses is and why it's that expensive. Why are you afraid to tell people, Phil, huh? Why would you be afraid to tell people that?
What it went to, you know,
but Phil, with respect, like, this is a very simple question. When you're listing these expenses here, is that your total expenses, personal and business together, or just business expenses?
I actually don't know, because that's what my bankruptcy attorney put together for me.
What?
Properly.
No, Phil, you would fucking know that. And you should know that you were filing bankruptcy. Wait, which one was it? I think he was filing bankruptcy at a personal level, not a business level. Because I don't think he was trying to file bankruptcy for his business. He was filing bankruptcy for his own personal stuff. Because like him as a personal individual had all the credit card debt that he was trying to get rid of, not his business. So then wouldn't these expenses not be actual business expenses and would be his own personal expenses? I'm not sure, honestly. Because I'm pretty sure he was trying to file bankruptcy personally, not his business. I remember him saying that. Because his business, quote unquote business, wasn't filing for bankruptcy. He himself was. Right? So then wouldn't these expenses here actually not be business related and would be personal related then, right? Which would make more sense, if I'm correct. This shouldn't be his business expenses. This should be his personal expenses, which makes a lot more sense. So if we're considering that his entire mortgage is included, his electricity, his debts, his fucking everything, would make more sense if that was a personal filing. Not his business expenses, but his personal expenses, since he himself is the one filing for bankruptcy. Oh, was it? Okay, so if he did actually say those were his... I know he was trying to call everything a business expense. Like, that's business related, that's business related. Everything is business related, guys. I know that. But obviously he had to have had some things that weren't business related, besides WWE Network. Because I know he freaked out when the call did what's this WWE? He thought it was WWE Champions. But I know he tried to pass everything off as business expenses, so it would be not considered in the actual bankruptcy. But
for the law in Washington State, I don't know.
Can I talk to him about this and get some answers on that, so that everybody can calm down about this?
I mean, I doubt it. But
yeah.
Well, if you give your permission, he can talk to me.
Let me put it this way: everyone involved in this bankruptcy was already mass harassed by a zillion people. And
I'm not going to harass anybody. I'm going to ask him that very simple question that I asked you: is this expense is your business or your personal or both?
My take on that would be that's probably what they considered, whatever is qualifiable as the expense, whatever to qualify for the bankruptcy. You know what I mean? Like what is quantifiable as expenses for.
No, I know he said we would have to rewatch it, honestly, but I'm pretty sure he said WWE Network was personal and not business related. That was like one of the few things that he said was personal. Because everything else he used as business related, right? Like he was going through the phone call and it was talking like PSP, PS2, PS3. He was saying all of those were related to his business, even though he never fucking played any PSP game on his fucking business, quote unquote. He's never reviewed or played any game on his PSP, but he claimed that was business related. I think WWE Champions was one of the only things that he said was personal and not business related, if I recall correctly.
Or whatever they needed for this document, because I don't even know what this document is actually, because I don't know how bankruptcies work.
Well, it's from your bankruptcy filing. It's public information. That's where I pulled it from.
Right, but I don't know. Like, what is this form meant to measure personal expenses? Is it meant to measure business expenses? I don't even know. Like,
Well, see, that's why I think there's some confusion then, because
No, it says right here, Phil. Income from I'm sorry, I didn't see this part. Income from operation of a business, profession, or farm. Self-employment. So yes, I'm sorry, I am mistaken. This is clearly supposed to be his business expenses, not his personal expenses. It says right there. I didn't even see that. My bad. So yes, while he was filing bankruptcy for his personal being, this form is clearly about his business expenses, not his personal expenses. Sorry for the confusion. I apologize.
the people that are upset about this are saying, like, for example, I got a message, and I'm for sure paraphrasing, but somebody sent me a message and said, I was watching.
No, WWE Network is not WWE Champions. WWE Network was just a streaming service to watch wrestling. It was not, unfortunately, it was not WWE Champions. The court did not know what WWE Champions was or didn't bring it up.
Darksydephil.
Yeah, this was business expenses.
And
it says it right there.
I know that in this time frame, he didn't buy, for example, 2 new gaming PCs, backdrops, microphones, or anything to improve his show. So how does he have $9,000 worth of expenses? His show didn't change at all over the 6-month period.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. I don't know what's considered an expense. I don't know if that's business or personal. For example, this is what I mean. I can't speak to it because if I speak to it, they're going to clip me and say, see what Phil said, and they're going to try to get me in trouble, right? But to give you some perspective here, this room that I'm broadcasting out of right now, okay, is only used for work. So therefore, this room, for tax purposes and all of that.
Except for when you're jerking off in it, I guess, because like you can jerk off in it, and that was not intended for work. It became part of your work, but it was definitely not intended for it. But obviously, you're doing stuff in there other than just business-related stuff, Phil.
If for somehow it's considered either an expense or a write-off, I don't know. Does that factor in to this?
Well,
how would you not know?
Let me help you a little bit because my wife is an accountant.
Okay,
and boy,
maybe
is she
we'll finally
strict.
get some answers. Because
well,
I don't
is
know.
she strict? But there's some other confusion. So some of the other confusion is that, and this is a simple question too. Are you writing off like your whole mortgage payment as a business expense? Are you writing off?
I don't think so.
All
No,
of
that's
your
not
utilities.
Possible. It would only,
so
to my knowledge, it would only be.
You can only write off a percentage of your household expenses because you're just using that one room.
Should I be very clear here? I'm not writing off anything. I have professionals who do my taxes, and it's not H&R Block or one of these, fly-by-night bullshit companies. It's a real.
Phil, that's still you writing it off because you have to tell your tax professional what is and isn't a write-off. Phil, that will not stand in a court of law. If you are audited, if you have to go back and they ask you, is this a write-off or not? That's on you to provide the answer for because you yourself are writing that off. They are not going to go and arrest your fucking tax guy for writing something off that you told him to write off, Phil. You can't semantics your way out of a court of law. If something happened and you had to go to court and prove if this was a write-off or not, you would be liable, Phil. Because you are the one telling your tax guy to write shit off or not. So you should know, because in the end, you are financially liable for this information.
Tax attorney.
I know. They're on the bank league. I check them out.
I pay tons of money for them to do my taxes every year, and they do them right, 100% up and down.
Yeah, because this was way before he upgraded all his tech shit. This was way before. He was still using the old-ass webcam that he had for like 10 years. The same mic that he was using for 10 fucking years. He didn't ever replace any of the tech shit that he had there. He had the old-ass background. He didn't even have these new foam tiles or any of that. So, like, at most, maybe you can write off the internet because he has separate lines of internet, business class internet for that reason alone. So, like, at most, it should just be that and for paying for video games. And maybe electricity, and power, like he said, partial for the office, because he's trying to write off that office at least, or partially for their mortgage because of it, but that's it.
Great
You're
job.
still
So
liable.
I don't know what's written off and what's not. I don't know. I can't answer those questions.
Get to another one of these. So the asking for support, we'll go back to that because one of the other criticisms, I guess, is that you ask for support too much. And I think that maybe I can help you understand some of this, what you call haters or trolls, because in some of this stuff, it's kind of, like I said, it's cringy, right? Like
Sure, purposefully so. Yeah,
it's not purposefully so. You're using that as a shield.
Absolutely, it's hammed up. It's hammed up.
No, it isn't.
Do you really think it's a big deal if I had RPs?
You are treating it as serious, Phil. You are not acting like it's a joke. You act like it's 100% serious. So people are going to take it 100% serious. You can't just pretend to be Andy Kaufman over here and say, oh, this whole thing's a joke, guys. I'm not actually a greedy piece of shit. No, you are. And you're trying to make excuses for it and say that it's some fucking joke and, oh, it's meant to be cringy, even though you banned countless people for calling you cringy on it, for calling you out on how cringy it was. And you banned them and you got super butthurt about it.
On Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, that doesn't matter. It's just you jam it up, you make people get motivated to do it. That way we get it, right? As opposed to if everything's never a big deal.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'd imagine if he tried, because I almost guarantee you Phil was trying to write off way more shit than he was allowed to write off. And yeah, you're right. The tax guy probably was like, hey, Phil, we can't actually write that off. That's not allowed legally to write it off. If this tax guy is any sort of competent whatsoever, he would be like, hey, we can't actually write that off. We can't write this off, Phil. What the fuck are you doing? So you would think Phil would know what is and isn't a write-off. Unless he did, but again, we don't know how long ago he initially did this. He doesn't, I'm assuming, what year ago was it? How long ago was it that he switched to this new tax person that's in Washington State as opposed to the old Connecticut tax guy, right? It had to have been, well, he moved in 2014, so he probably set everything up with his current tax guy at least 10 years ago-ish? Maybe like 9 years ago? So he probably just doesn't fucking remember, because it's not, I think, if I recall correctly, I don't know much about like actual business and filing and shit like that. But if I was to imagine, it's like every year he could update the tax guy on if there's a new thing that he has to write off, which he would probably do this year because now he has 2 new PCs. He has all this new shit, the microphone, the stand, all this shit is going to be written off this year, right? But if we go before this year to before he was upgrading his shit and it was the same as always, he wasn't writing anything new off. So all those things that he initially was written off was made 9 to 10 years ago. So he just doesn't fucking remember, right? And now he has new stuff that he's going to write off. Like I said, the new PCs and everything like that. All that shit he is going to write off and add to it to his current tax guy. But he doesn't remember the shit that he initially written off 9 to 10 years ago. There's no way in hell he's going to remember that shit. So why doesn't he just come out and say, I don't fucking remember, it was 10 years ago? And like, he could just say that. I wouldn't give him shit if he couldn't remember. I can't fucking remember shit from 9-10 years ago all that good.
And you don't hype anything up, then who's going to have incentive to ever care about it? You know, I'm a crowdfunded individual. So you got to hype up these events. We're going to do a DSP Tries It. We're going to do a marathon.
Well, some people feel say that you have this like bloated sense of self-importance, like the money's just yours. You earn it, you deserve it.
Yeah, that is quite possible. It's like, because like, I mean, obviously last year he did start finally streaming WWE Champions. After his detractors, we were the ones to originally tell him years and years ago that he should actually start streaming that. But he likely was trying to write that off, if not succeeded in writing that shit off. And that could explain the massive fucking business expenses, right? That could explain the $5,000 a month in business expensive, because it was all going to WWE Champions, and he was lying and pretending that he was covering that shit on his taxes. He was claiming that was for his business, right? So that's probably why he doesn't want to admit to any of that shit. Because can you imagine if that came out as truth? That, oh yeah, well, I was writing off $5,000, $9,000 a month on average for WW Champions, even though I only recently just started streaming and covering WW Champions on his channel. People would eat him alive if they found that out. So, like, that's quite a possibility.
I want you to react to this and tell me the truth.
Okay.
You don't think that this is too much?
If you like my content, and if you can support the streams today, please do. In particular, I absolutely need help with tips today. If you tip me today and I hit the goals today, I'm in a good position for tomorrow. If I stream today and I hit none of the goals, I'm fucked. And essentially, I'll be going grocery shopping. I guess we're gonna eat a lunch meat sandwich, you know, for our day off. I can't even have a meal out or nothing because.
This is me being cringy, guys. This isn't me being serious. This is me. It's all a fucking act, okay? Bullshit.
All right, so look, this is
great.
To me, that's too much. But don't you understand that some people? All right, so if your position is that you're doing this on purpose to make it cringy and you're laughing about it's a joke, but some people in your live chat really don't know that you're joking, and they might think that
he's not.
Phil, you basically say this is great. It's such a grift, but it's grifty. You basically say like if.
Yeah, I do remember that one. I'm like, even though that Citibank representative might not have been an actual Citibank representative, we don't actually know 100% for sure. They made a very good point, and the judge should have asked Phil to clarify on that shit. It's like, oh, we already have, but you really didn't. They itemized Phil's personal expenses, but they did not itemize Phil's business expenses. They only listed out his personal expenses. Which, again, maybe it wasn't necessary because he was filing for bankruptcy on a personal level and not a business level. So maybe that's why they overlooked it, was because, again, he was filing for his own personal expenses shit, not his business expense. His business, he wasn't filing for bankruptcy for his business, but just for his personal.
If I don't get tips, I can't buy groceries, and I may be subjected to have to eat a lunch meat sandwich on my day off. I won't even be able to get takeout food.
And who wants to do that on their day off?
But you're putting that on the audience. You're putting it on the audience.
First off, I'm trying to remember that specific situation because I don't actually remember what the heck that situation was. If you're wondering why I'm saying tips, it's because tips.
Yeah, even though you already stopped streaming it, and you know he's still playing it, and if he was illegally claiming that as a business expense, he still probably is, obviously, even though he isn't streaming it anymore.
Spend it on something right away. Like, for example, you're getting a ridiculous amount of super chats, but as you know, you don't get those right now. You got to wait like a month and a half before you get anything.
No, I got to wait until the 21st, and I don't live paycheck to paycheck. And
that's right.
And also,
but Phil does, and also Phil incentivizes people to tip him through PayPal, not to tip him through the fucking super chats. But Phil was trying to pretend that it's all coming through super chats and not tips. Because when it comes to PayPal as tips, we all know that Phil instantly takes it out and sends it to his bank account instantly, which costs a fee to do that. It costs a fee to instantly, within minutes, have it sent from PayPal to your bank account. But we all know he wastes money doing that too.
In your defense, we talked about this a little bit off air. My show doesn't pay any of my house bills. I have other sources of income. And, you know, and speaking of that, we'll get into that next because there's some other stuff there. I took another one off, and this one is about abusing users and taking advantage of users. And, you know, there's some people that are like, why the stuff that he says, let me share my screen again. We got another one to share with you here. And I want you to react to this one and tell me, you know, is this too much or is this okay? Because
let's hear this in context. I've never heard this before. I've just heard people quote it. But
you often say that people take things out of context. So I'll play it and then you can explain it and you can put it in context for me.
Sure. Thanks for the money, dummies, because that's exactly what you fucking are. A bunch of fucking empty-headed idiots who paid me money to get absolutely nothing out of it. Thanks. Oh, I know exactly what
I kind of wish Steve had done a little bit more research on that, because obviously, like, if you like spent 2 extra seconds to like actually see the entire clip, it was obvious he was talking to trolls and not to his fans about that.
Every single day, there are people who will send me small tips. I'm not talking they're sending me like a giant amount. They'll send me like $1. They'll send like a 50-cent super chat, and they'll put
I'm
the most
pretty sure
insulting
you
possible
also can't send a 50-cent super chat anyway, though. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can't do that.
message in there, insulting my wife, insulting me,
Oh,
and
that's
so
cringe. Yeah.
that's response to that is saying, yeah, dummies, go ahead, keep sending it to me because you get nothing out of it. Because I actually, if I remember this in context, they were expecting me to read every message, and I said I don't have any obligation to read any messages at all. If you're going to be insulting, the moment that you cross that line, I'm just going to ignore you. So go right ahead, send me tips.
And
Send me super
didn't that
chats. Thanks for the
result
money,
in him
dummies.
getting
Now you
like a
wasted
lot
your
of
time because I'm keeping it,
chargebacks
and
too?
I'm not reading your
Because of
message.
that?
All right. Well, yeah, I guess I could see that that's fair, but and maybe that's taken out of context. But from a public relations standpoint, it's
I
really
don't know
not.
why
Do
it
you
keeps
agree that
pausing
maybe
like
it's really
that.
not good to have that clip out
I
there
mean,
on
to
the
be fair,
internet?
I do have a
Because
lot of
there are
tabs
could use it
open.
against you.
There are
I'm
5
trying to cut
zillion
down on
clips
some of the
out there,
tabs
and
I
they
have
will never
open,
stop.
but
So at this
I
point,
think I need
could
more
literally say
fucking
to anything,
RAM.
It doesn't matter. Just to be quite frank with you,
I need
the
to
things that they've
upgrade
said
my
and done
computer
about
a
me over
bit
the years, that
eventually.
there's just so much vile stuff out there that it's just white noise at this point. You know what I mean? Like I just don't give a shit what they clip. I really don't. It doesn't bother me at all.
All right, and I
Oh
got
yeah,
another
okay,
one
sure, it
on
doesn't
the
bother
same
you at
sort
all.
of,
Sure, Phil.
on the same sort of thing about this is you asking for support,
Mhm.
and I don't. Let's get your reaction
It's
to
going
some
to be
of
great if
this.
you can support the stream tonight in any way. It's going to be critical that you guys support the content in whatever way that you can. Really, if I don't get support,
I wonder what browser he's using. Is he using a Mac?
on these streams, it sucks because that means that I'm not making anything on the videos. If you'd like to support my final stream of the week, please do in any way. I will give you a shout out.
Steven said when everyone who hit him up was his haters, none of Phil's supposed fans don't actually come out and. Yeah, I mean, he's taught his own fans never to come out and interact with them though, right? Like when the side scrollers happened and Phil was chastising Craig, oh, how many of my actual fans did you interview? It wasn't many because he told his fans not to go over there, not to ask him questions. He taught them to stay here and I'll be the one to answer the questions for you. So his fans are like trained not to go anywhere else, not to go and interact, not to go ask questions to any of these other people. So of course they're not going to get questions from his fans because he wants them all to stay in his little hug box.
Last chance, if you'd like to support the stream in any way, I would appreciate it. Guys, thanks for being here. It would be great if you could support the stream in some way. But outside of that, any support would be appreciated. It'd be great if you could support tonight's stream. You've been asking me nonstop for variety. So I'm giving you variety. I'm giving you what you want tonight.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize
Phil could have told his audience beforehand, hey, if you want any questions asked, be sure to go over to Craig and let him know that you have some questions, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He didn't do that. He was purposely being like, hey, you can watch it here when I go over it with him or when it happens, and I'll answer all the questions for you. Like, you know what I mean? He did it on purpose.
12 minutes of you asking for money straight.
Let's need to pay at least 3 to 4 more bills today. We really have.
No, but here's a perfect example. You're saying like, oh, I got to pay bills, so you guys have to pay up.
Okay. Can we, hold on. Let's put it in context. At least 3 to 4 because it's not in context today. We really have almost no support at all. Guys, it would be really great if you could support the stream today. We have had a very slow support stream. I don't know why.
Whoa.
I don't like having this game be my lowest supported stream.
Corona
it's such a great game. You guys have asked for it for years. I wanted to play it for years. It kind of sucks.
No one asked you to play Chrono Trigger. You wanted to play it. I'm like, it's fine. You should be able to play the games you want to play, but don't be putting that on your audience's fault because they were asking you to play it when maybe one person asked. So it's like if one person asks him to play a game, that suddenly means his entire audience somehow asked him to play a game. Like, Phil, only that one person asked you. Maybe. But usually it's like it's you. And if you want to play a game you like, fine, go ahead, obviously.
Sadly, a game that people aren't really digging. I don't know. We have another hour left, okay? I'm just going to be doing story, as you can see. It would be great if we could get some more.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like I told you guys at the beginning of the stream tonight, I really need help with tips right now. I've got my day off on Monday and then big bills coming up right after. So tips would be preferred. Today, views don't really matter to me. I don't care if I have 200 viewers on the stream.
Yeah, it was when OIC had the interview with Agent Proper. This was like a year or two ago, and it was kind of a boring interview, to be honest. But if you go on Agent Proper's YouTube, you can find it because OIC did an interview with him. It was definitely a spurg.
Trigger. I really don't. It's not
Just search Agent Proper on YouTube and you'll find it.
Last night. I'm nervous that what's going to end up happening is this game ends up being the slow game and it doesn't get support. And what if there's a day when also the other stream I'm doing doesn't get support? That's going to be a concern.
Phil, would it
Agent
really be the
Proper
end of the
also
world
did
if you had
the-
two
is
streams
doing,
in a row where you didn't hit some
Top
goal
10
that you
worst
have?
moments of
Today, no.
2025,
Back then, and some of these
2024
older clips,
now.
because those are clips
That
that are
Secret
way out of
Limited
context from like
retired.
during the bankruptcy and stuff. Yeah, it actually would have, because I was living paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes I was living stream to stream. That's how tight it was.
Well, I've heard you say that you were going to work on not asking for support so much. How do you think that's going for you?
No, it's different now because the way that I ask is it a different way? Allow me to
It's
explain.
different now because Kino Casino, guys. It's because Kino Casino incentivized me and told me I should actually beg even more than I ever did before. So now I beg totally different, and even though, because he's obviously trying to emulate what fucking Ashton does, and it doesn't work out.
Back then, as you saw in the older clips where you noticed the webcam's fuzzy, quality shit.
Oh, let's
That
see,
was-
there's
That was when I was
There's some
going.
later clips in here too, though.
Yeah,
more
those are.
recent.
See, I don't want it to be like that anymore. All right, that's why I'm not going to put Vest Streak down here on the leaderboard, and we're going to start counting. We're not going to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I've once again for the fourth straight
Tears
stream,
of a Kingdom.
4
the
in
key.
a row,
Basically, wage quit.
I received a $150 tip from Jinx. That's 4 in a row.
Oh, thank
6
you,
streams
OIC.
in a row. We have hit goals. All the goals.
You see what I can see what the
always-
detractors mean though.
yeah.
Like you seem to like guilt people. Like, well, we got to hit the goal because we've hit it 6 times in a row. I mean, do you understand like the law of averages?
Thank
Like,
you,
okay, you didn't
Steven.
hit it
Thank
tonight, but
you.
you hit it 6 times in a row. So if you don't hit it tonight, it's not. I don't know. To me, it seems.
No,
like
but
it
I
wouldn't be a
gotta
big deal
keep
to
my
miss it
streak going,
on the
guys.
7th out of 6 streams, right?
And you're right. It's about context. I'm trying to. I don't know what time period this is.
They
because
are
there's been
really
different
hard to
times when
do,
we had
for
things
sure.
going, like a streak where that was the thing, was to keep it going and hit it every time. And like right now, for example,
Because it's
I
so
don't
hard to
care
narrow
if I hit
down
my
to
goals
just
every stream. I
10.
didn't hit my goal earlier today. I tried to motivate the audience to hit the goal. We didn't hit it. I didn't say, "Oh no, I'm so angry with all of you. The sky is falling and the world's over."
You basically
Some
do,
of
though.
these
You
clips where
cry
hear me
and
say
bitch
things such as,
about
Well,
it.
if I don't have enough tips, I can't go grocery shopping or whatever. It's because it was true. It's because that was years and years ago at a time when things were much, much worse for me.
But Phil, you just said that you couldn't order Arby's like 2 days ago.
Right,
unless you hit the goal.
and that's different. That's a joke. That's because we were hamming it
Oh,
up. We wanted to
bullshit.
hit the goal. We
All
wanted
right,
to do
listen.
this.
If I go
That's
to
different.
listen, if I Phil, with respect, if I go to Pig Go right now and I
Mhm.
put in the keyword term groceries, how long ago is the last time that you said if I don't hit the goal, I can't hit groceries?
And it
Oh
was
my
in
God,
February.
actual saying that I
This
can't afford
February.
my groceries.
Today is the 13th of February, 2025. When's the last time you said to your audience, if I don't hit my goal, I can't buy groceries?
It definitely hasn't happened since I appeared on the casino. That's for sure. It definitely. I mean, I would think it probably hadn't happened.
The
Before
fact that
then.
you need those guys to class you up is pretty funny to me, but okay. Like, really? The
Dude,
casino guys said don't ask for grocery money anymore, Phil?
oh no. What I'm saying is, when I appeared on the casino, all right, for the first time in
Oh,
over a
Lord.
decade, people saw me in a completely different light.
They,
Instead,
Well,
of
they're-
just-
people. No, they didn't. Philip, you are delusional as fuck. I don't know why, but I swear Philip has this delusion that like Kino Casino has this massive, way bigger audience than they actually do have. Like, I don't think Kino Casino breaks 1,000 viewers when they do a stream, right? They don't have this massive, insane, like, the majority of the internet watches Kino Casino. That's not true, Phil. But I swear he thinks that because he was on Kino Casino, the majority of people have changed their mind about him. No one really knows who the fuck Kino Casino is, except for people that are really into this hardcore drama shit. They don't have as big an audience as he thinks they do. They really don't. So it's not the majority of people who looked at me in a different light. It's not true, Phil. It's not at all true. Maybe, 500 extra people that are into the same drama shit and lolcows? And even then, I highly doubt they haven't. Because you're back down to where you started from before the Kino Casino arc happened. You're back down to level 1 again, Phil. You didn't do anything to profit on the extra uptick in views. When you first joined Kino Casino, you had an opportunity to use that to launch yourself further, to use that as a stepping stone to find a new audience, to actually change for the better, and you failed again. How many second chances has this motherfucker had to do better for himself, to actually make changes and actually work. And he doesn't. He flounders every second chance he's ever gotten. It's so annoying to watch it because most people don't get nearly as many second chances as this asshole has. He doesn't deserve second chances because he's already at his like 25th chance at this point. I'm not counting, but he's already had way too many. Exactly. He's a dunce. He'll always be a dunce. He's always doomed to failure because of who he is, because of his behavior, because he refuses to change. So no, the majority of the internet hasn't changed their opinions or views on you, DSP, because Kino Casino doesn't have that big of a fucking audience. Now, if it was Medicare, maybe, because Medicare has a massive audience of people. But he refused your fucking interview, and even if he did an interview with you, he's not the kind to fucking be cuckolded by you. He would rip you to fucking shreds, Phil. He's not like Kino Casino. He's not gonna suck your dick.
I think Axton is trying to run your redemption arc. That's what I think. And
exactly.
I wish that there is a road to redemption for all men.
He really believes that. That's so pathetic.
I've been through when investigating you is really scary. Like, I just want to ask you about the incentives and benefits. Like
I think he's so delusional. He believes it in his head. The reason why he repeats it so much is to convince himself, because he's obviously not convincing anyone else about this. He's only ever convincing himself about it. He's trying to convince himself to cope. So it's 100% cope on his end, because he's not convincing anyone else.
Fit for your audience to see you put on a vest or put on a hat or eat a sandwich? Like, that's what you're rewarding them with? I don't get it. By the way, I'm an outsider looking in. Maybe that's normal in your world.
Well, did you know that I don't do that stuff anymore? Not the sandwich, because we've already talked about DSP tries it. Are you aware those goals don't exist anymore? They were phased out?
Phil, on Smart Show this week?
Even him rubbing his hands to his hair, that's always like a coping mechanism to like ground himself or whatever. Again, like very kind of like autistic behaviors. He has these personality traits or these tics to like what's it called, like the autistic tics or whatever, where it's like he rubs his hands to his hair all the time to calm himself and soothe himself, kind of thing.
You made people give you money so that you could eat snacks on stream. That's another one of those.
No, I didn't
describe respectful podcast. I think there are detractors who would treat him with like more respect or give him a chance. And I think he would earn more respect from detractors if he actually stopped all this bullshit, actually changed for the better, laid it all out on the table. Like, okay, you got me right. I lied about this. I lied about all this shit. Laid it all out and was actually trying to make an honest effort to change for the better. I think people would actually give him more respect. Just detractor-wise, would give him more respect even. There's obviously detractors that wouldn't believe it for a long fucking time, but if he was actually making strides to be a better person, probably half the detractors would start leaving him alone. I honestly believe that, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I didn't make them. That's a reward for us hitting a support level. That has nothing to do with made them do it. So that they didn't do it because of that.
But you understand, it's the same as asking for
and he's always rocked back and forth like that all the time.
All right, here's the difference.
So no, but here's my point.
I understand your point. Let me respond. There is a distinct difference
because he benefits from it. He got I honestly think he was better off with the vest and the hat goals. At least his audience got something out of that. But like, who wants to fucking see him stuff his fat fucking face all the time? And if you remember correctly, what was it? Well, I just lost my train of thought. If you remember correctly, he was not that long ago, before he revived DSP Tries It, he was going on and on about how unhealthy DSP Tries It was, how he was stopped doing it because he was so sick of going out to eat with all these fast food places and all these greasy, unhealthy foods. And that's why I lost weight, guys, and I'm only some bullshit lying number of, 190, 180, some bullshit like that, which obviously he isn't. He's in his 200s easily, 220, 240. But, I mean, whatever. But he was going on and on about how DSP Tries It was so unhealthy, and now he's right back into eating, all the fucking fast food all the time. And I don't see how that's really a goal for anything, really. Exactly. I'm like, I think he should bring back the vest and the hat goal at least. I mean, like, he was making more money doing that than this shit. And it's like, I'm surprised that, like, I mean, obviously it's boring for us, but I'm surprised his fans haven't got bored of him eating food. Like, who gives a shit about what food he eats? It's not like he even describes like what it tastes like in very good detail. He likes to pretend that he's some kind of food connoisseur, but he isn't. He doesn't have the descriptive dialect to really give a real authentic view of what it tastes like. You know what I mean? He's no fucking food reviewer. He's no review bra.
Wait, I don't know if
although he loves to pretend that he inspired him, which is a lie.
Here, I'll fix it.
There's a distinct difference between years ago when I was actually financially distraught, legitimately financially distraught. Okay. And I'm on my stream and I'm saying, please support the stream today. I literally need tips. I even said things like, don't send me super chats. Don't become a member. I need tips today because I need the money for tomorrow to do something with it. Right. That's a lot different than anything I'm doing today. Where today it's a positive reinforcement and an incentive.
Bullshit.
A lot of joking and razz. I've actually kind of learned a lot from the casino. Since I've been on there and I've watched them, how they do. They positively incentivize their audience, right? Instead of saying it's a negative on.
Is that what you consider it? Positively incentivize? Like, let's get some tips, guys. Oh, when was the last time I had a tip? Come on, let's get a tip. Who's gonna drop the next $150? Like, is that considered positively reinforcing people? I don't think so. It's just annoying the audience. And you're still begging for money way more now than you ever had before. You're like increased the level of begitude has increased to level 9,000 over here, Phil. Come on.
Less you support. You say, if you support me enough, I'll give you a positive. That's a different kind of reinforcement that I'm learning and I've instituted in my content. So every time we hit 10 goals, we all talk on streams about what is
it's more cringe this morning doing on my kick chat, what he's doing now.
I want Phil to try the Shamrock Shake from McDonald's because he shit talks it.
Come on, guys! I only have till 12 o'clock to make the goals so we can eat Arby's. Because if not, I'm gonna tell my fat ass wife that she needs to fucking cook something, and she hates to cook, guys. So you better give me that $150 by in 20 minutes, or else this bitch is gonna have to go and actually cook something. And you know she's not cooking shit. You know they're still going to get fucking DoorDash anyway. Because she doesn't cook anything.
Time he actually had one, I was like, you know, it's true. I don't even remember. Probably 15, 20 years ago. And I hated it. So people want to see me do that as a reward. So that's a positive incentive. We hit a certain amount of goals. I'll get it. We'll do a taste test video. And I know another thing that you're thinking, because you're probably thinking, well, how is Phil eating something a reward for his viewers?
Yeah, right? How is it, Phil?
There you go. See, I'll play devil's advocate to myself here, right? Like,
that's not what devil's advocate means, Phil. Usually devil's advocate means if someone else is defending you, not
if
you
I would
defending
say
yourself.
Every time that we hit a support goal, I don't know, I'm going to raffle off something. I'll raffle off a portal coaster. We'll do this or that. So who benefits from getting the portal coaster? One person. One person will.
One person benefiting is better than no person benefiting, Phil. No, who besides you benefits from you eating and stuffing your face? No one is benefiting from you stuffing your fat fucking face, Phil. That's not something people want to see.
We'll get this portal coaster. Everyone else who tries to get it, hundreds,
come on,
maybe
Phil.
thousands.
What about you? Got rewards for like showing people your underwear or your socks?
Those are
like
jokes. You don't really do that. PPP and Ashton, or excuse me, PPP and I care about that. We're joking. It's incentive to try to get people to support. Sure, but it's not
PPP and Ashton.
Reward. That's hamming it up over the top.
Here's where I think you can make some progress with all of your haters and detractors.
Okay.
Will you commit for the next 6 months to not ask for money for your bills, your mortgage, your internet payment, your car payment?
And it's just like,
will you commit for the
like, I've seen people like, oh, is their name? Sin and Sass. They're a girls streamer. They stream Amberlynn Reed and Chantel a lot. And they'll just have a goal for their stream on the top of the top of the screen here. And it'll just have a little goal here. And if they get to the goal, they'll play like a custom. I can't even talk. Sorry. They pay a person to do like a custom parody song about like Amberlynn or Chantel or whatever. And it's like a funny, cool song that they play. Or they'll have certain clips that are customized to play. I'm like, that's something cool. And they don't talk about it all the time. Every like maybe twice a stream, they'll talk about the goal. But that's it. And they actually give their audience something new that they've never seen before with a new custom like song music video thing. I'm like, that's something fucking cool. And now, obviously, they don't hit the goal every fucking stream either, but they're not begging for it constantly. I'm like, that's how you fucking do it.
6 months to not beg or ask, beg for money for your personal expenses.
I have
for the
not
next
done
6
that.
months.
I have not done that for ages.
I don't
Like
know,
I said,
man.
since
Pick
I've been on the
go.
casino, since now I do something positive. It's a positive reinforcement.
No, it
to get a
isn't.
reward. It's not me asking for something to buy
Oh
something.
my God.
Or
And by the
pay
way,
for something.
I'm learning from you. So I didn't start a goal tonight. So I'm just setting the goal now. We want 50 super chats, any amount,
There you go.
and I will eat Arby's for that. Thank
There
you.
you go.
Yeah, and
Now, what are you gonna get?
I've
What are you gonna
started the
get?
goal. I don't know. I think I want to try the burgers because I saw what you did, and you're right. I
It's good.
drive by an Arby's on the way to my cabin. The only thing I've ever liked from Arby's is curly fries. My wife likes some of the
Exactly.
old sandwiches, but they stopped making some of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll get a burger. I'll eat
He
Arby's.
is the one who makes people obsess about his finances by doing shit like this. Because he's the one who's always, like, even in the past before, like, especially in the past, he would go on about his finances and how he can't afford this, he can't afford that. Hell, to this day, he still bitches. He was bitching about spending $40 for a video game for one of his marathon streams. I'm like, bitch, you already got paid like thousands of dollars to do this marathon in the first place, and you can't you're bitching about spending $40 to play a game, to buy a game to play for the people who gave you all that money? Like, really?
If
I
he
think you'll
gets
like-
50 super chats, but
I
I
do
don't
think you'll like
believe
the
in DoorDash, so they have to wait until I actually physically go get the sandwich.
There you
I
go.
don't believe in. Oh, that's another criticism. Do you do DoorDash like twice a week, or how much do you do DoorDash?
I do. I usually, if I'm not going out, on
Prepare
my
to
day
be
off,
lied
I
to.
will DoorDash one meal that my wife and I share as like a dinner, so we don't have to
Oh,
cook
that's-
because we literally cook every other day at home.
Bullshit.
Or if I'm doing one of these big rewards after
Bullshit.
hitting 10 or so goals, we'll DoorDash the meal to show up so I can do the video live. Because no one wants to sit around while I'm going out to get the
Exactly.
meal and come back. They want the food to be here on
Bullshit.
time during the stream, so that way it saves that downtime. But no, I don't
Bullshit.
DoorDash every other meal. Listen, I have lost something like 40
Oh
pounds
my
in the last,
God.
5-6 years.
Oh,
How
good
could
for
I
you.
have done that if I was door dashing every
How could I have done that? Well, I don't know. You're eating all this fucking junk food now, so you're gonna gain it back, right, Phil? Probably because you're an alcoholic and you drink more than you eat. Probably that, huh, Phil? And that's one of the reasons why Kat ballooned up to be how big she is. It's because she's eating all the leftovers, because you'll eat like half a fucking hamburger, give her the rest, and drink the rest, and drink for the rest of the night to fill yourself up with alcohol, Phil. And then she fucking is eating all the leftovers and shit.
day. It doesn't even make any sense.
That
you know what I
doesn't
mean? I'm
prove
eating healthy meals
shit.
that my wife is making.
You can eat a ton and still be like thin or average. That doesn't mean you're gonna like fucking balloon up.
Every day, and
Well,
that's why I'm able to do that.
That's
He
fair.
could
But
have
are
a
you gonna
natural,
commit
like,
to
I mean,
not
he's
asking for
not, obviously he's not that thin. Obviously we see that in his chest area, but like, I mean, I would guess he's probably like 230, 240 is my guess, but that's just me. But like, at the same time, it's like he's drinking most of his like meals is probably like him drinking a lot, right? And it's probably just goes right through him, and he might have a faster metabolism still, right? But at the same time, that doesn't prove anything.
personal expenses for 6 months?
Sure, because I don't do it now. Again,
Okay.
I don't
All right,
ask for
I'm
personal
going to hold
expenses
you
now.
to that. I'll
Oh, I
checking
wouldn't be
Pig Go every
surprised.
week.
You will. Now, here's what you got to
Keywords:
do, though.
groceries, mortgage, day off.
That's fine.
You can't
I
ask
don't-
for money for your day off either. You can't ask for money for your day off because that's a little cringe, Phil. But back to one thing, I got a lot of messages
Yeah,
from
he already failed on
disgruntled
that.
users of yours who were banned,
Okay.
and many of them said that they used to send you a lot of money, and some of them even sent me the receipts that they indeed were big contributors of yours. Do you, as a show host, believe in free speech on your show?
No.
Free speech, as long as it's not insulting to the point of
So
being personal,
no. No.
or that it's not doxing, that it's not something dangerous.
So this he's doing this. Phil is doing the same thing. I'm not trying to get political, right? I don't care what you vote for. Fuck that. But like he's doing the same fucking thing that Elon Musk does, okay? Because Elon Musk has turned X or Twitter into a far right hug box. So you can't say anything like I can't say cisgender on there without being banned or my view getting visibility. I can't insult Elon himself without that being not allowed and being banned, right? But you can say all this heinous stuff. You can say the N-word. You can say all this like Nazi stuff. You can say all that. That's all fine. But you can't say anything on the left side or it'll be low visibility or banned, right? You know what I mean? It's like in the same way that Elon Musk has made Twitter a hug box for alt-right conservative people Phil has done with his fans. You can't dare criticize him because he views any legitimate criticism as insults.
And also insulting each other in the chat or other viewers, right? You shouldn't be getting into arguments or quarrels with other people, derailing the chat. Because, let's say, for example,
I wouldn't recommend
I'm doing
going
a
on
stream
Twitter.
of,
It's
Final
become
Fantasy,
such a
and you go to the
cesspool
chat,
now.
and people are literally sitting there arguing
I
with
mean,
each other,
I'm
insulting each
still
other. What are
on
you doing?
there
I'm
because
playing
I'm an
Final Fantasy.
idiot.
Why are you doing that?
And for like, I'm on Blue Sky also, but Blue Sky, like, their algorithm isn't as good as Twitter, unfortunately. I don't know.
How many people are you?
I'm trying to get my algorithm better.
Look, I was
Blue
checking
Sky,
the
but
chat logs, and I only did one of the mods here. They banned 1,200 users permanently. Do you see that?
Yeah. Dude,
wait! I'm still scrolling, Phil.
No,
you guys
this
banned
is easy.
1,200 users. 1,200 users.
This is easily explained.
And I was able to find some of the people who contributed to you on this list of permanently banned users. So when I hear you saying, "Oh, I got to get money or I can't pay my bills," and then I see that there's users that are giving you money that you permanently banned because they said something you didn't like. I don't know.
Elon Bunk. Waka Waka timed out for 7 days. That was a WWE Champions time. Banned. Timed out for 7 days. Cough Up Dense. Banned. T dying was Phil's fault. Banned. XXX indentations. Banned. Evil Snood. Banned. Dark Side Limp Real. Banned. Dented Car. Banned. Big Birds. Banned. Zemtex. Banned. Just Pro Farah.
And in your defense, I have a total free
X Pizza Parker XX banned. Sir Kevlar banned. Ironhide banned. I Quilt 10.
Speech zone here. I don't ban anybody generally unless they say something.
DSPGaming no support. No game wallets banned.
Really crazy, like racist or whatever. But there's 1,200 users from just one of your mods permanently banned. Do you know how many you've banned since, let's say, December?
No, I don't count. But do you understand that those aren't real accounts? You know those are bot
none
accounts,
of them
right?
are real accounts. They're all bots.
Some of them are people.
Most of those are bot accounts. That is.
I don't know, Phil. I had a couple of phone calls with some of these people.
That's fine.
It seems real to me.
It's not everyone is a bot account. I'm telling you, the vast majority.
That sounds like somebody that.
The vast majority. Here's the problem: is you can just make an account, jump in there, and start spamming, and then you get banned, and you're in there in 5 seconds with another account. I mean, you can talk to any moderator on my streams, and they'll say it's a nightmare with the amount that these harassment antics go. They'll come in and make. I mean, you would think, oh no normal person would do that. These people are not normal.
My question is, why is Phil still trying to stream on Kick? I don't get that. Obviously, it's failed. He thought he was going to get a huge uptick in extra viewers on Kick, and that he can get extra money by doing streaming simultaneously to Kick and YouTube. Obviously, that didn't work out. He has barely 30 to 40 viewers on Kick. So he hardly ever seems to get actual tips or super chats or whatever the fuck the equivalent is over there. Any kind of donations that he gets is usually from YouTube anyway. So I don't see why he's still trying to push Kick and keep streaming there when it's not really worth it.
Go in there some days with 50 accounts. You ban one, next one. Some of them, I'll give you an example right now. You ready? Oh, here we go.
Oh, lean over ban.
I'm looking right now. What I'm doing is I've gone to my main channel page of my Kick account, and I'm trying to see. I can't see. I'm stupid. I can't see that far. I should open it up on my laptop.
Yeah, because I can't see because you're his fucking monitor is 10 feet away. 10 feet away on a fucking desk. I'm of course you can't fucking see that far away, you dumbass. Why didn't you bring it up on your laptop that's right there?
Make accounts that are insulting nonstop, and they'll just wait. I can see when they make a new account, and if it's an insult, the name is the insult. They don't even have to say a word. The name itself is an insult towards myself. It'll be Phil's fat wife 204 ban. Phil, the IRS is going to arrest Phil. Ban.
But 1,200 in a space of a couple months, really?
Because he can't take a joke. Phil, just who cares what their fucking name is? It's either most of it's probably legit criticism anyway, and secondly, who fucking cares what their name is? Just let it fucking go. If they're like want to watch you or they want to give you money, they will. Which most of them probably aren't, obviously, because they're mostly trolls. But still, it's like, why bother wasting all that time banning all these people just because their name is offensive? Like, how fucking thin-skinned is this fucker?
I'm not kidding you.
I haven't permanently banned or hidden 4 users in 4 years.
Yeah,
So
it's dozens a day. That's the level of harassment, is dozens a day. These people don't let up. They're out of their minds.
Harassment. Guys, it's harassing me if you come in to my chat and you have an offensive name that I take offense to. That's harassing. I could call the police right now and ban all you motherfuckers in my chat because it's very harassing to me. Okay? This isn't criticism. This is harassing. And it's not allowed. That's against the law. I'm gonna charge you with a felony and take you to federal fucking court. Okay, Phil, calm down.
Okay, but do you?
I should go for some bacon right about now.
Why you piss people off to that
smoked
extent
ribs
to come in and troll you? Because, you know, my father had this saying, Phil, and it was called "high on the hog." And there's a perception that you're living a pretty great
Phil is definitely a hog,
and you're begging your audience to provide that great lifestyle for you, and then.
He is definitely living outside of his means. 100%, he's living outside of his fucking means.
All this money, and 3 Arby's sandwiches. If I didn't, you know,
that's right, and that is called jealousy, right? That's exactly what that is, and I understand it. 1 million
jealousy, jealousy.
Who I'm jealous of too, who I think shouldn't have what they deserve. What they have, they don't deserve it. Okay, but the difference is, I don't go after those people. I don't systematically harass them. I don't insult their family members.
There's a difference here, Phil. Like, the people you're jealous of, they've earned that shit. You have not. You are scamming your audience. There's a difference there. The people you're jealous of don't manipulate and beg constantly to their audience. You don't really have a job. You're a professional beggar. You're not a professional streamer. You're a beggar. And there's a huge fucking difference between the people that you're jealous of and you. People are not coming to you and being detractors of you just because they're jealous of you. No one is jealous of you. Okay, good. You get free Arby's. That's not worth living a day in your fucking shoes, Phil. It really isn't. I think most people that spent a day in your shoes would probably off themselves, to be honest. And I'm like, I'm not making fun of that. Like, I would never want to be in a position that you are in. Sure, you get to sit around and play games all the time, but, like, you have to take all the extra baggage that comes with that. And it's not even just the detractors and harassing. Like, you live a boring-ass life. You have a wife that does not love you. You have a cat that doesn't even really barely tolerates you. You have no friends. No one to really talk to. Like, what do you have to show for it? What do you have to show for 16 years being online? Being the joke of the fucking internet. That's it. You don't own anything. You're still paying for a mortgage on your house. Your car is probably the only thing that's fucking paid off. Jesus Christ, Phil. No one would, like, no matter how jealous you might think people are, no one would trade it for a day in your fucking life, Phil. No one.
I don't try to get them, arrested. I don't dox them. I don't swat them. I don't create 50 ghost accounts a day to go into their chat and spam. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do any of that.
I actually like Arby's. Okay, I don't get this whole Arby's hate going on here. I am genuinely actually do enjoy Arby's. I don't get why people hate it so much. Like, their chicken sandwiches are pretty good. I do enjoy their roast beef sandwiches also, and the burgers are good. I don't get it. It's better than, like, me going to McDonald's, in my opinion.
Philosophy is, if there's someone I don't like, okay, I ignore them and I move on positively with my own life.
That's fair enough.
But that's what they don't do. They're obsessed. They're crazy people.
Now I want to move on to the interrogation.
Like, he makes his own life extremely difficult because of how fucking retarded he is. Because of how dented he is. It's almost like Perry in a way. Like, I always said that DSP is a younger version of Perry, where it's like, it's amazing how they can make it through a single day with just how dented and slow and mentally challenged they are.
through. I'm going to try to keep taking things off this board. We're going at a good clip.
Well,
though.
to be fair, I don't really have like super. I'm in the East Coast, so I don't really have a great amount of fast food restaurants here. It's just like it's either Burger King again, McDonald's, Taco Bell, or Arby's. You know, it's like not. I don't have any White Castles. I don't have In-N-Out. I don't have Panda Express anywhere near me.
I'm proud of you for hanging in this far. You know, a lot. Everybody said you were just going to drop.
Exactly. Like he could be in the same position that like Shane Dawson is in, or fucking Keemstar. Like he's made as much as Keemstar's made, and Keemstar is set. He's retired now. Keemstar is a dumbass and a jackass, and I personally don't agree with him politically on a lot of shit. But he's well off. He's set for life. You know what I mean? And he's busy desperately trying to make lolcow live a thing, even though it's a fucking failure of a podcast. But yeah, I mean, he's still set for life and retired. So it's like you could be that way too if you actually saved your money instead of blowing it on everything, Phil.
It's got hard.
What? I was on a 5-hour podcast with Side Scrollers, and I did a 12-hour live react to a 4-hour documentary about me that covered all of this already. Why would I drop from your show?
Well, now, because now things are going to get kind of spicy. So I have one post-it note here. Can anybody read what that says? It says polygraph test. It says polygraph test. I don't know if you know this.
You see
from
that?
Kino knows it.
You see his little like shift there. He's a little nervous there. Hold on a second.
Ashton from Kino knows it, and Andy Worski know it. But I have a polygraph test. I don't know what it says. It says polygraph test.
Yeah, what? I can't read.
Polygraph test. I don't know if you know this.
That little
Ashton from Kino knows it.
There,
Andy Worski know it. But I have a polygraph machine, and I'm basically certified polygrapher. So for the rest of tonight's broadcast, I'm going to ask you to answer all the questions truthfully, and then after the show, I'd be willing to come to you and administer a polygraph to make sure.
And we like, what blew me away was that in the Stutter and Craig interview that DSP had, Stutter and Craig was calling out Phil for lying the entire fucking time. And Phil was like, it doesn't matter if I lied. I answered the questions. You were supposed to answer them truthfully, Phil. It's like, well, I did answer them. I just didn't give you the correct answer. It doesn't matter that I lied or not. Yes, it fucking does. Like, people ask you to be honest, and you yourself wanted that interview to be where you cleared the air on everything, where you came out and this will be the definitive end-all questionnaire where I can clear the air and give my side of the take on everything like that. That was the initial purpose of the Stutter and Craig interview, or side-scrolling interview. That was the whole reason why he wanted to do it in the fucking first place, Phil. But he's over here and be like, oh, well, I gave you an answer. It's just isn't the answer you wanted. I'm like, bitch, you weren't supposed to lie. And fucking Steve over here thinks he's not going to lie on this? Oh, come on.
Make sure you're answering the following questions from here on in truthfully.
Exactly.
And failing that, I happened to find a retired FBI polygrapher.
And being extremely stupid on Twitter, but I mean, that's just
done a job for my show before. He's in Seattle, so he could just easily drive to where you are and administer the polygraph either at your house or at a hotel nearby your house. Would you be willing to submit to that?
Nope.
For what reason? What benefit do I have to do that? Because
so that you could clear your name, like everybody keeps. Listen, Phil. Everybody keeps saying you're lying about a lot of stuff that we're going to get into next. So here's what I'm here for: Ashton from Kino and Andy Worski, who want you to have the redemption arc. And I thought, what better way of redemption than passing a lie detector test? What better way to prove all these evil detractors wrong? I've got a polygraph set up and a chair. Right, it goes.
And like, obviously, this is going to go on for a little bit, but like, if DSP was actually being honest, he would actually want to clear his name for all this shit. He wouldn't just say, oh, they're going to believe what they're going to believe and they're always going to move the goalposts no matter what. No, if he was actually innocent in all of this, if he was 100% actually innocent and we were all the assholes and the bad guys, he would be willing to do this. 100%. He'd be willing to clear his name because at least that gave him a one-up on detractors and be like, haha, see, I was fucking right about at least something. But he doesn't do that, obviously. He doesn't want to do that because he knows he's in the wrong here. He knows he's guilty of all the things that he's accused of being guilty for. So, obviously, he's not willing to do any of that shit because he knows that he's guilty of it. And like, if he was honestly innocent the way he claims he is, he'd be probably more than likely willing to do it.
Was in a briefcase. I could take it on a plane. I could be at your house in a couple of days. I needed a little bit of time to, get the plane ticket and figure it out. But like, Phil, what better way to shut up all your detractors forever? You say those bank leaks aren't yours, right? We'll put you on a polygraph and ask you that question again and verify that you've been telling the truth this entire time and you haven't lied about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great idea. And if you don't agree to this, it doesn't look good for you. Because it kind of looks like you're avoiding.
Let me fully respond.
Responsibility.
Shall I fully respond? Okay.
There you go. And by the way, that's 2 offers. And here's what I would do to make it completely fair. If you agree to it, I'll do a polygraph, and the FBI retired polygrapher. He's an expert, and he's a member of the American Polygraphers Association. He's a world recognized expert. He's worked on tons of criminal cases, worked for a lot of high profile lawyers on the West Coast. I'll get us both to do a polygraph. So you have 2 shots, and then we'll both tell what our results are. Because I haven't been doing it for 25 years like this retired FBI guy. So in fairness to you, we'll do 2 of them. And most likely we will concur on the results. So that would mean it would be impossible for you to pass 2 of them if you were lying, in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know what the
Yeah.
Okay, so
what is it called? I don't know how long
you have to understand is
he has to go before
what you're
he can
proposing
be
to me is an opportunity to
statute of limitations is over for
Absolutely.
that? For the
exactly
perjury on that?
All right.
I'm not sure exactly when the statute of limitations.
I'm giving it to you. And by the way, by my own expense, I'm going to pay for the other polygrapher. I'm going to pay for the flight, the hotel. I'll pay for my meals. You don't have to pay for anything. I'm going to pay for it all.
Allow me to respond because you're not letting me respond.
Oh,
Allow me
go
to
ahead,
respond
go ahead.
properly to it. Okay.
All right.
My viewers, my supporters, the people who actually like me, who are on my streams every day, who watch my content, who support me via all these contributions, right? Don't give 2 flaming shits about anything that my detractors have issue with me. They don't.
But they're so
they know all about all the
black-pilled and
controversies. They've
fucking
heard my answers.
brainwashed.
They're happy with them. You understand? They don't give a shit. In fact, if I bring it up on my streams, they get upset. Why are you bringing that up? You know we don't care. We don't care what this one said about you, what that one's saying about you.
That's fair enough, but wouldn't it be good to just turn the page and never have to answer any of these questions again after you pass a polygraph?
Let me finish the answer, because here's the second half of the answer here. The detractors that I have, all right, have found a financial incentive to never be satisfied by any answer.
That's not true, Phil, because the majority of detractors don't even take tips. They're not monetized. A lot of people that don't like you are not monetized, Phil. Only some people are. And there's nothing wrong with being monetized with Phil or anything like that. I don't give a shit. I'm just saying not every detractor is monetized. A lot of people do this for fun. A lot of people do this as a hobby. They don't spend their entire fucking day doing it.
By anything.
Even if you pass a polygraph,
even if I passed a polygraph, even if right now I opened up my bank account to show you all the information, even if I showed you every possible thing to clear up anything they've ever said about me, they wouldn't care, because they immediately pivot to the next thing they don't like, the next thing they can over dramatize, the next thing they can make drama out of.
But don't you think the people that are in your corner would say, like, look, he passed a polygraph. Those bank leaks weren't his spending. This isn't an issue anymore.
The people that are in my corner and don't care. Like I said, they literally don't want to talk about this shit ever again.
Brainwash them.
This stuff is the bankruptcy stuff is 5 years in the past. Listen, you want to talk about criticize me and how I asked for contributions today? Fine. I will accept that. Sure. But we're talking about stuff that's done. That's been rehashed, done. It's done with. The reason my detractors keep bringing it up is because it makes them money. They can monetize this cult-like mentality of idiots.
All right, good morning, everyone. How's everyone?
And they make tons of bank on it. You've seen it yourself researching me. There is a network of these people who are making insane amounts of money, more than me, if you add them all together. So they're never going to be satiated. If right now you were here and you asked me the questions and I answered every one and you said, oh my God, you said the truth on every single answer.
Yeah, but
they wouldn't care.
Let me be very honest with you, Phil. I don't think that you'll pass either polygraph. And that's why
obviously
I don't think you can pass a polygraph
hold on
based on the evidence that I found. And we're gonna show it to the audience tonight.
Did I say no yet?
You can't. Well,
you're gonna say no, Phil. We all know you're gonna say no. Come on,
shit or get off the pot. There's a road to redemption right here. Right here, I'm giving you the road to redemption.
If
you could piss it away, and people are going to shit on you forever for passing up this road to redemption, or you could take the high road here and prove everybody wrong once and for all.
It's not the high road. That's bullshit. It's not the high road because the people who care about me don't care about any of this. They don't. They're coming to my streams every day to enjoy games and to hang out. They don't care about any of this.
Don't you think that your supporters would like knowing that you didn't blow thousands of dollars on a mobile game?
I already told them
they were giving you money the whole time. You don't think they would benefit from that?
I've already fessed up that I did. I already cleared all that up. It's already happened.
Well, I guess in fairness, you may be right. But
So here's the definitive answer, okay?
okay.
The only way I will do it is if it actually benefits me. And it disproving my detractors does not benefit me in any way. So
Well, assuring your supporters that you didn't rip everybody off while you were spending tens of thousands of dollars on a mobile game would go a long way towards healing the, maybe some of your old supporters.
Nope.
Didn't you lose supporters over the bank leaks? Didn't people walk away from your show and never give you money again? Wouldn't they come back and say, I was wrong about
No,
DSP?
they would not come back. That's
oh my God.
They would never come back. Those kind of people, if you're already going down this crazy cult-like hate
1234. All right, let me see something. I want to see if this is actually it or not. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt the thing.
All right, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
What was it, 1234? This is an older pre-stream, obviously. Wait, what? 12. I think this is the right spot. Let me see if this is what he actually was talking about.
Absolutely would have played it on launch day if I had known it was going to be good. But all the evidence we had said it wasn't going to be good. And then it comes out and it's great. I'm like, okay, well, that's definitely one that I want to play then. Okay. Now we're in November, okay? Here's the situation I'm facing, all right? And this is me being completely transparent with all of you. I'm broke, basically. I don't have funds to do anything with right now.
Okay.
In October, at the end of the month, I was hit with a over $1,500 legal bill for shit that I had to do to try to clean up the giant mess made by someone who committed identity theft with me and screwed up all my financials. I had things that were fucked up to the point where I had multiple things that weren't paid, fees on top of fees, saying I'm in default and stuff, which I should not have been, but all my shit was compromised. So it got...
This is him talking about the bank leaks, by the way. Remember the bank leaks that was not his? This was him talking about those bank leaks that someone got into. Because before he started denying that the bank leaks were not his, he admitted those bank leaks were his. And on top of that, he claimed that they had taken like 3 different withdrawals of $1,500 out of his bank. The same bank leaks that is not his, because he changed his mind later on and said the bank leaks were not his. But this is him admitting the bank leaks are his because they hacked his account. This is what he's talking about. Let me go back.
And screwed up all my $100 legal bill. I don't... Now we're in November, okay? Here's the situation I'm facing, all right? And this is me being completely transparent with all of you. I'm broke, basically. I don't have funds to do anything with right now, okay? In October, at the end of the month, I was hit with a over $1,500 legal bill for shit that I had to do to try to clean up the giant mess made by someone who committed identity theft.
And first of all, if someone actually did, like, that's a lie, obviously. He's lying about that, because, yeah, someone hacked into his account, but no one took any money out of his account. Those are his bank leaks, obviously. But no one took any money out of his bank account. And you never, like, if someone hacks in your bank account and they have to close the bank account and, like, for fraud reasons, they never charge you. No bank is ever going to charge you for that. Even if someone did hack into your bank account and steal money, like, usually you don't get charged for that, Phil. He was lying back then. Because his first ideal, his first ideal in reaction to the bank leaks was to lie and to use that to lie and claim that he had to pay legal bills and that they took money out of his bank account, and to use that to beg more. And then he realized how damning those bank leaks were, changed his tune, and started claiming that, oh, those aren't my bank account, that's someone else's bank account, those are fraudulent. But back here in 2021, he was admitting those were his bank accounts. They took money out of his account, and that he had to pay $1,500 in legal fees in order to close the account, which obviously is bullshit too. But he was admitting it was his bank account back
with me and screwed up all my financials. I had things that were fucked up to the point where I had multiple things that weren't paid, fees on top of fees, saying I'm in default and stuff, which I should not have been, but all my shit was compromised. So it got frozen, and it took me a while to figure all this shit out, and I had to pay a ton of money to get stuff fixed and get back on track, which thankfully I am now, but it costs money. I actually said this on Twitter. I said, in America, it's fucked up because you become the victim of a crime, and you have to pay money to fix your own shit. Like, I was the victim.
No, you don't, Phil. You don't. I mean, maybe it's dependent on different banks, possibly. But, like, I've been a victim of identity theft before, and I didn't have to pay any money to close my account down. I didn't have to pay money for the money that was stolen out of my account. I didn't have to pay that money back because it was proven to be fraudulent. And because it was proven to be fraudulent, I didn't have to pay that money back. And I didn't have to pay to close the account. I didn't have to pay to fix that. And he is right here saying it's identity theft. How could it be identity theft if it was not your bank accounts, Phil? How? How is it identity theft if it wasn't your bank account? Oh, that's someone else's bank leaks. Those aren't my bank leaks. Someone manufactured these bank leaks and created this whole phone system out of nothing, and you don't know because you didn't call that bank to verify that was the sound of the bank leak thing. Like, Phil, shut the fuck up. This is obviously your
federal crime.
You were crying identity theft. You were admitting those are your bank accounts, Phil.
But now I'm set back tons of money because of a criminal.
Because he was using it as a way to beg for more money back then.
Now, I'm just going to tell you guys this right now. I am not going to put up with any more fucking slander and defamation and bullshit. These scumbags who say, oh, I know all about identity theft. You don't have to spend any money to do anything.
You don't.
Fuck you and your mother.
You don't.
Really.
Oh, fuck you.
Fuck you,
motherfucker.
Because
and
you're a piece of shit.
Fucking Linda.
I'm the one
fuck
who's going
Linda
through
too.
it right now. I'm the one who's going to have a bad time trying to pay back all
I'm
this
the one
fucking
lying
money
to
I
you
owe
right
now.
now. No, motherfucker. Fuck you.
I know what I fucking owe because I have the bill in front of me.
Okay, show it. Show it. Present the fucking bill, motherfucker. Because I don't believe you. You're lying out your fucking ass. Because I also had identity theft a long ass time ago. But I didn't have to fucking pay money. So unless your bank is extremely regarded or extremely fucking greedy, I mean, it might differ from bank to bank, possibly, to be fair. But
sit here on the internet and lie about it because you're a scumbag who just wants to fucking contradict everything I say to try to make me look bad. Fuck you.
Trying to make me look bad while I'm lying to you right now.
You're not here in my shoes putting up with
God
this shit
I'm not
every day.
in your shoes.
I'm
I would
tired
never
of the
want to be
slander
in
and
your
defamation
shoes,
against
sir.
me and everyone's saying I'm a liar.
Everyone's
Fuck
saying you're a
you.
liar. Fuck
you don't know
you.
anything. You're a dumb fucking kid living in your parents' fucking
I'm
basement
a dumb
with no
kid. I'm living in my own apartment, Phil. I mean, technically I don't own the apartment, but I'm living by myself. I'm not living down in my mom's basement. I'm not eating fucking Cheetos and Fritos and Mountain Dew, Phil. I'm an adult.
bills and no responsibility for yourself, or you're some lucky snowflake who's been protected from real life.
Oh, right, yeah, I've been, oh my God.
Actually understand the
Because God forbid someone disagree with Phil. You know what I mean? Oh, if you disagree with me, you gotta be a lucky snowflake, or you gotta be some dumbass kid in the basement. Any normal person would never disagree with me.
repercussions when someone fucks with your livelihood every single fucking day like they do with mine.
Okay? Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm done with it.
Mm-hmm.
I am in a bad situation now because of the crimes that happen against me. It's that simple. Now,
well, again, if those bank leaks were fraudulent and not yours, then you wouldn't be in a bad situation, and you wouldn't be crying identity theft. Now, would you, Phil? Kind of funny that, huh? Which one is it, Phil?
Now, I had to pay a big chunk of those legal fees at the end of October, because if I didn't, I was going to get slapped with ridiculous amounts of interest and late fees and stuff, on top of the fact that for a month, all my shit was fucked up because I had no money because of the identity theft. Now I have these fees that I have to pay, and if I don't pay the legal fees, now again I get slapped with interest and shit, okay? So all that
what legal fees, though, Phil? Like, did he hire a lawyer to go investigate this? Like, he keeps saying legal fees this and legal fees that. Like, where are these legal fees coming from? Like, are you actually hiring a fucking lawyer to try to, like, I don't fucking know, like, go after the actual person? Because usually they don't do that. And if the bank was charging you money, that wouldn't technically be a legal fee. That would just be an extra fee to clear up the issue with the identity theft and fraudulent charges, if there was any, which there wasn't. So where is these legal fees coming from, Phil?
Shit going on behind the scenes. On top of that, there's other shit going on too. Like I actually told you guys the other day. So
More
I
lying.
do this awesome Halloween marathon, right? The Halloween marathon is just outstanding. We have a ton of fun together with it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best ones I've done, I feel, because the games were outstanding. The best episode of Feasting with the King we've ever done. The support was good. I made over $300 in tips that day.
No, of course.
Okay?
There was zero money. Zero money. There was zero evidence any money was taken out of there. And if you listen to the phone call that lists all the different transactions, there was no egregious withdrawal of $1,500 that just was randomly withdrawn. That didn't have like a company name or transaction hooked up to it. There was no ATM withdrawal. There was nothing like that. There was no internet wire transfer, any of that shit. So you go and you listen, and it was up to date at the time that it was released. It was up to date, and there was no $1,500 money withdrawal made there at all. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure it would be listed in that phone call. Like, you go back, you listen, there's no random $1,500 withdrawal being made there at all. But at the time, he was passing it off that it was really his bank account, and he was crying identity theft and using this to lie and claim that he changed it too. So originally it was just $1,500. Then he said, oh, 3 different withdrawals of $3,000 each. So $9,000 altogether was withdrawn because he kept ramping it up and making up these fucking stories to use it as a way to beg for more money and to cry broke at the time. And then after some time, he started to realize how damning the actual evidence was of these bank leaks. And then he started with this whole narrative that it was not his and they were fake bank links and they weren't tied to him. And he didn't, in fact, have identity theft. But he wouldn't be here crying identity theft if they weren't his. And there was no other instance besides the bank leaks that was ever really identity theft. So it couldn't really be misconstrued as anything else but the bank leaks at the time.
I literally end the marathon. I go downstairs, and the vacuum cleaner is sitting in the middle of the floor. And I say, Cat, what's wrong?
Oh, this is when
vacuum
Cat
cleaner
broke the vacuum cleaner.
What? Yeah, the motor must have gone because there was smoke and everything, and it won't turn on now. And I'm like, seriously? Like...
And it works. Clearly, this whole lying works because Nathan Smith donated 50 pounds.
I'm like, wow, I just had a really long, fun, but very draining day entertaining my audience.
And this was back when he still had Streamlabs and Stream Elements or whatever. He wasn't kicked off of those yet.
And guess where the money is going from that stream? To buy a new vacuum cleaner, you know? But this is what
And, like, didn't he make, like, over $200 on that stream? I'm pretty sure vacuum cleaners don't cost $300 to $400 unless you buy the most top of the line.
I mean, like, this shit just never lets up, and it's coming to the point where it's becoming so frustrating for me now.
Was that it, or does he keep talking about it?
One thing happens, another thing happens, another thing happens, and they just keep piling up, and I can't take care of them. I just don't have the flexibility financially like I used to. There was a time when, oh, something like that happens, pull out your credit card. I don't have a credit card. Oh, something like that happens, go to your savings. I don't have savings.
Yeah, we know you don't have savings, Phil.
You know, I don't have anything. You know, this sucks. This really seriously sucks. And I'm now in a situation because, and by the way, that's not everything.
Exactly.
That's the main stuff that happened. That I wasn't expecting to get a $1,500 fucking legal bill at the end of October. I was expecting
because you didn't. And he keeps saying legal. The only way it could be legal in regards to the identity theft was if he hired some kind of private investigator or fucking a private investigator to go and investigate this himself, which banks never require you to do. Like, no bank, like, if you have a victim of identity theft, no bank is going to require you to have a personal investigator fucking go and check this out to confirm that it's identity theft. What?
Maybe a few $100s. I was like, oh, that'll be no problem. Then in addition to that, in October, there's other stuff that happens every quarter. Like I had to pay my quarterly state business and occupation tax.
All right,
okay?
this is I'm done.
So
I
here
think that
am,
was
I'm in a
it.
situation.
But yeah, again, this was November 3rd, 2021. I need your help for the coming month. Thank you to my real fans. You see what I'm saying? He was literally just using this, and I think like you go farther back because this wasn't. I couldn't find exactly when it happened. I was trying to find the exact like the stream the day after though that happened, but I don't remember what date that was. So if anyone remembers the actual date when the bank leaks actually came out, please let me know so I can actually find it. But yeah, you go back far enough and you'll find that he fabricated this whole the bank leaks are fraud, the bank leaks aren't mine, because he was using the bank leaks incident to lie and beg for more money. He was using it specifically to lie and beg for more money, lying that he had to pay this like phantom legal bill of $1,500, and then after this he lied and said there was other withdrawals made during the identity theft where like over $3,000 was taken out. And I'm like, you're not gonna sit there and not notice that $3,000 was randomly pulled out of your fucking account. I don't care who you fucking are. I don't think so. You know what I mean? But this just is further proof that, yes, those were his bank accounts, and he was admitting those were his bank accounts because he was using it to cry identity theft. I mean, it technically was identity theft to, like, sneak into it in the first place, but nothing was ever actually stolen from him. But he was using it as a way to beg for more money at the time. So he was admitting that, yes, those bank leaks were his, and then he changed his tune after the fact. And if you go back far enough, like I just did, you can clearly see that. But I digress. Let's go back. Sorry for the whole little field trip there.
Filled rabbit hole about someone.
Just proving that the bank leaks were real.
You're already got your mind made up, and nothing's ever good enough. I know because I've gone through this over a decade now, where I
yeah, exactly this just received $1,500 bill for legal fees. I didn't see this part on the interview. Actually, honestly, I really didn't. See, yeah, he's admitting this is October 27th, and that was November. So maybe I could find it that way. Yeah, because back here, he admits that it was identity theft. It was his fucking bank account. I didn't remember him actually pulling this up.
I have proven some of this.
I was listening to the interview, but I wasn't actually watching it.
Stuff wrong. They don't care. They're on to the next and the next and the next, and they keep moving the goalpost. So I'm not out to disprove my detractors. I don't give a shit about them. I care about the people who support me every day, and they don't care about this.
Everybody.
If this is going to happen, okay, if this is going to happen, I need to have actual real incentive for it to happen. It's that simple.
Oh, so in other words, you want me to pay you to take a polygraph to prove your innocence and help you prove your innocence?
There has to be incentive.
I'm already paying for it. You know what? It's going to be a couple $1,000s for me to get a plane ticket, hotel, meals, whatever, and pay the other polygrapher. It's going to be a couple $1,000 just for that. I'm not, I even if I put it on a monetized video when we're done, I don't think I'll recoup that. Now you want me to pay you on top of it? That's a little much.
It's your idea, and you're the one asking to do it, not me.
All right, well, I don't care. Let's move on to this next thing. And remember, I'm going to ask you to be honest with me. When it comes to the bank leaks, you said this was on October 27th, just received a $1,500 bill for legal fees to clean up the identity theft I just went through in the USA. You get billed for being a victim of a federal crime. Needless to say, this is effed up, and I'm pretty upset to get the news on my day off of all days. So I wanted to ask you if you could let me talk to the attorney or show me the invoice privately.
Talk to the attorney or show you the invoice for what? This particular thing I'm referencing in the tweet?
Yeah, you basically said that you received $1,500 bill for legal fees. That would have to come from a lawyer, right, Phil? So you'd have a receipt, or you could show me a bank statement that you paid a lawyer $1,500 over these bank leaks. Because based on what my investigation uncovered, Phil, I don't believe that you paid any lawyer.
Would you like me to explain what this?
As long as you're not going to, yeah. But you've already explained what it meant. You said that you had to spend all this money to straighten this out.
But that's not elaborating. That's a very quick tweet. Doesn't explain the situation. I can tell you right now what this means.
Yes,
well, just give me the proof that you spent $1,500. It's pretty simple thing to do.
I would have to go back. Well, I have to explain to you what it is.
Now you're talking in circles, though.
I'm not talking in circles. I want to tell you, but you're not letting me. Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Oh, but before you do,
no, why are you cutting me off? Let me answer.
All right, try to answer quickly. We got a lot to get through.
If you want me to answer the question, let me answer the question, or else don't ask it. Are you going to let me answer the question?
Oh my God, it's so annoying.
explain the $1,500 legal bills that you can't show
Okay.
proof of. Go ahead.
The legal bill is my tax people having to clean up the situation. Here's what happened.
So you
Because
paid an accountant.
I paid my tax attorney.
Okay.
Where that legal bill came
Yeah,
from.
that's what I
say
see
it's
the
a-
invoice.
I see it's a legal bill. It's my tax attorney billed me for his time to clean this up because I was
Right.
already on back
So
payment.
can you
plans
show me
with
the
IRS.
invoice?
I could look for it. I don't know if I still
No.
have it. This is 4 years ago. I
Well,
don't
I
know if
can-
I have it.
I can call them and confirm if you give them permission to talk to me.
I can look for it. I mean, I don't. Do you really think that I want people contacting my
And
my
here
tax
I just
attorney?
I just want to show you this because I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer in my family. So he's
Uh-huh.
written a non-disclosure agreement between you and I, which basically stipulates that if whatever records you show with me, I'm only going to use to confirm or deny if you're telling the truth about all of this. I'm not going to share any personal information, account information, any identifying thing that could, because your argument is always, oh, this will put me in more danger. I'm going to look at the invoice and verify that you spent $1,500 over these bank leaks to clean it up. Whether you paid a tax attorney, a tax accountant,
That's
a
all.
lawyer,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what it is. It's all the tax attorney /
All
accountant.
right. Well, I'll give you this non-disclosure agreement, and then you don't have to worry about me disclosing anything other than, yes, he paid a tax attorney $1,500 to clean up this bank leaks mess.
Okay, but what's the point?
The point is to prove that you've been telling the truth, because I don't think you have been about the bank leaks specifically.
And I don't care if you believe me or not. It doesn't
don't
affect me in any way, shape,
care.
or form.
Bro,
All right.
bro,
So
really?
you don't care?
You know you're lying.
No, I don't. I don't
Wow.
care. I don't.
You know you're
I really
lying,
don't. Like,
Phil.
I'm a content creator who sits down and makes gaming content, streams, chill content for his
Oh my
audience.
god.
I'm past all this nonsense in the past. I, don't care about this. We are so past it. This is like dredging
Uh-huh.
up shit that we are already done
Because
with.
it's
Again,
never been settled. Because here's the problem, Phil. You talk a lot of shit about your detractors, but they have receipts, and you
They
never
do.
showed receipts.
what
You
receipts
understand?
do they have exactly?
Well, we're gonna. I'll show you, but first let's do this here.
What receipts besides circumstantial stuff or stuff that they
All right,
claim
all right,
is real, but it's
all right.
never been proven?
It's
What-
circumstantial. We're going to get into it then. But before we do,
Circumstantial, my
I just want to
ass.
remind you of what you've said previously about the bank leaks, because I don't think that you're being honest with your viewers or the world in general about these
isn't.
bank leaks based on the information that I found in my investigation in these past couple of weeks.
The entire thing, bank leak stuff, is fake. There was no bank leaks that ever happened to me. That whole thing was fabricated by
We
my
already
detractors.
proved that's
I don't even
wrong.
know what information they got or who they got it from, but it wasn't me. Like, they'd be like, what about the bank leaks and what about this and that? Like, what about them? Did you analyze them? Can you show them on stream? Can you prove that those are real?
And just so you're aware, Phil, I did analyze them, and I can show them on stream right now and prove that they're real. I don't
Thank
believe
you.
that you've been honest about the bank leaks. I think you lied about a lot of that, because it's in your benefit to lie. You don't want your detractors to know how much you've been spending on gin and wine and DoorDash and a
What?
WWE game.
Why would it matter?
Or let's get to the bank leaks, especially.
Because
You,
he's
you say they're
crying
fake.
broke
Hold
at
on.
the time,
Phil,
Phil.
in order for them to be fake, the person that faked them would have to know what kind of car you drive, who your internet service provider is, who
Okay.
your electric company was, who your
Okay.
garbage company was,
Okay.
what their monthly charge was at the time of the bank leaks for people living in your area at the time of those leaks. They'd have to know what
And he already admitted they were his in the past anyway.
restaurants you eat at and when you ate at them. They'd have to know when and where your wife gets haircuts. They'd have to know what your local
Yeah, I'm
water
pretty sure
company
it is a
was
job
and what
of
you
a
pay
cop.
them
It's
every
not
month.
a
They'd have to know
lawyer
when
that
you go to
does that.
Burger King. They'd have to know when you go out to eat, when you do DoorDash. When and where
You're right, Jackals there. Like, fucking tax guy has absolutely nothing to do with his actual bank account. It has nothing to do with identity theft. He only handles the yearly fucking or quarterly taxes that Phil has to pay. Why, unless, even if he's using the tax guy as an accountant, how would he clear that up? You know what I mean? Maybe if he has access to Phil's fucking bank accounts, but even then, why would he charge you money? He doesn't the banks don't charge you money to fix that anyway. It's easy. You just call and they'll close the account down and put the account on hold, Phil.
where you go grocery shopping, how much your back tax payments are, what your mortgage company is, and how much you pay that every month, how much you're making on YouTube, they'd have to know, how much you're making on Twitch, what accounting firm you use, and what they're charging you. The odds of somebody knowing all that information, it's like it would take a 007 CIA operative to fake these. Phil, you don't see that. Do you understand that there's direct correlation? You say I went to Burger King, and the Burger King charge is there on that day or the day before. You say I'm getting a haircut. 8 times somebody caught you saying you're getting a haircut, and those haircuts are on the bank leaks. And do you understand that the person that did that is a retired police officer? The person that found that information is a retired police officer. I think he's called Brosydephil.
Oh,
They
I don't
have-
know.
Sorry.
I
They
don't know
have
what
to
you're talking about.
know they'd have to know all of this
Just looking at
information.
something.
In order to fake them, it would take like a team of people. And here's the other thing.
Okay.
Do you understand that like people can track things down? So
Sure.
you know where those leaks came from, right? They came from an audio recording of somebody who socially engineered on their telephone basically calling an online teller at your bank and listing off all of the charges for that whole 18-month period. And here's what I found out in the course of my investigation. Let's just take a listen.
On September 13th, a pre-authorized payment of $120.27 from Comcast. On September 13th, a pre-authorized payment of $112.28 from Apple iTunes. On September 13th.
All right, so it's enough to say that somebody sat on a telephone for 5 hours. Now, I went through the first 5 hours of it. It matches the bank leaks 100%. And I also contacted the bank. This is the online teller at the time. That's the voice they use. So for somebody to fake this, they would have to have the software development kit for the telephony for this bank software and the text-to-speech that's used in this. They'd need the software development kit. Do you know what that costs?
No, I don't know what that costs.
It costs tens of thousands of dollars. Somebody would have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to fake this 5-hour phone call with your online bank teller, Phil. You don't think that sounds like overwhelming evidence that they're real? You mean to tell me one of your detractors spent 10 grand on a software development kit?
Are you going to let me respond now?
Okay.
Well, that was so annoying. Like,
so
are you gonna let me respond? Are you gonna let me respond?
You heard this clip, this 5-hour clip that supposedly someone recorded off of some phone line.
Supposedly.
And this is 100% indisputable evidence that it's true. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that I went through and somebody really did sit on this online teller and then transcribe every charge to a spreadsheet. It matches this 5-hour recording. Do you know the time it would take somebody to first fake this recording? And then again, they'd have to know everything you spend money on and all of these charges that are near your house. Did you know that all the charges are within just a few miles of your house? And that correlates perfectly to, being right near your house. Here's a perfect example. And I've redacted as much as I can.
We already know this. Everyone already knows this, but go ahead.
This is the supermarket. This is the supermarket where you shop. It's 3 miles from your house. 4 miles, I'm sorry. And this is the discount store. This one's, 3.1 miles. 3.4 miles. I don't know. It's a few miles from your house. And I was able to do this mapping with over 40 of the charges, the Petco, the place where you get your haircut. It's all within a few miles of your house. And there's correlations where you said things on stream, like I'm going to get a haircut today. Those charges are there. And in the case of the Burger King, they would have had to know the day before you said you were going to Burger King because that payment, that was the day before. It's virtually impossible for somebody to fake these. In my opinion, I've got 40 correlations. These are all stores and locations all right near your home in this course of this 18 months. You mean to tell me that some crazy evil genius figured out how to fake a 5-hour teller call and then put it all on spreadsheets as well? It's all fake. Look at this spreadsheet. Okay. It correlates to the audio recordings 100%. So and look at this. You're telling me somebody faked all this? This isn't you?
I'm still waiting for you to finish so I could respond.
Oh my god.
I'm not finished, so respond so far, and I got more for you. I got a lot more for you.
While we're on the talk, but I found another video from Duval Dublanc. Shout outs to him. This was 2 years ago when it happened. And it shows the different versions of his identity theft story over the past year.
How's everyone doing? So DSP, once again, the DSP recently talked about his identity being stolen by mentally ill scumbags of the internet. He's already told this rant a couple of times, so it seems like a good moment to look back at the other 2 major instances in which he's told this rant and see how much he changed in the story, because DSP being DSP always changes the story. The first clip we're going to listen to is from October 28th, 2021. It's the first time he...
Yes, so this is when it actually happened, because the actual identity theft, quote-unquote identity theft, when they actually got the information, went into his bank, whoever it was, went into his bank account on October 27th, 2021, and found out, got the whole list, the 5-hour-long fucking recording from his bank. And this is the day after Phil first addressed it.
Or the first major rant he has about his identity being stolen, and I really hate using that term, but that's what he's using. So let's go with it. DSPGaming, ladies and gentlemen.
But anyway, thank you, Only Nice Coffee, for the $2 tip. I appreciate that. All right, so I guess very briefly talk about some personal stuff here that I'm not too happy about, and it's very upsetting to me. All right, and not that I want to inundate you guys with this shit, because it really, there's some stuff I gotta get off my chest. I'm very upset about the bullshit that happened to me in regards to last month, where I was a victim of crimes, identity theft, and basically really fucked up stuff. You guys, see, the thing is, you guys don't even know the half of it, of what really happened, because I was advised legally not to talk about it publicly about all the extent of the shit that happened.
Bullshit.
But suffice it to say, the stuff that went public,
illegally by who, Phil? Who advised you legally? Your tax attorney? I don't think he's like an actual cop or anything like that, Phil. He's not a lawyer.
Isn't even 100% true. But on top of that, isn't even the half of it. Like, let me just put it this way. All right, once someone gets access to your data, they can then use that to do a lot of shit that's bad, okay? And if you don't catch it right away, you basically now have to do a cleanup process in order to fix stuff. And that's not good, okay? It was a huge mess for me, being a victim of identity theft, because basically for a couple of weeks, I had no funds that were active except for my PayPal stuff. All my funds that were, related to being paid from companies and bank account and stuff was all frozen for me. Which means, guess what? I couldn't pay anything. I had financial responsibilities that I couldn't fulfill because I had no money. Everything was frozen for a couple of weeks because of fraud. So because of that, now not only do I have to clean up the whole situation, but now I'm behind on all my payments, and everyone hits me with a fucking late fee and shit. And I will say this, at least some of the companies were very nice, but not all of them. Some of them were like, okay, we understand, these are tough times, this is an extenuating circumstance, we're gonna give you a pass. But some of them were not. Some of them were like, tough shit, we have staunch policies, if you don't pay on time, you're in trouble. Like, late fee, and by the way, interest on top of late fee and shit. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Seriously, like, what the fuck? So not only am I dealing with—
Also, can't most of these companies, can't you, like, change the due date for the bill? Can't you, like, move that later on in the month to maybe when you'll actually have access to the account back, or a new account in place at that point in time then? Like, I'm pretty sure most companies will allow you to change the due date.
With all of that, but whenever something like this happens, it's this serious, you got to get professionals and lawyers involved and everything, and I did. I had to do a major cleanup process because my stuff was so screwed up. I had basically emergency level. Now let me tell you something. As if lawyers aren't expensive enough, all right? Imagine now telling a lawyer—
So he's admitting in the original story, he's admitting he had to pay for a fucking lawyer to go up for identity theft or identity fraud, whatever you want to call it. I have never heard of a bank requiring you to have identity theft. A bank requiring you to hire a fucking lawyer when you're the victim of identity theft. That has never happened in the history of the United States. I'm sorry. That will never fucking happen. No bank is going to force you to need a fucking lawyer. Okay?
that you now need something done.
Especially when no money was actually actively taken out of his account. Like, the information was taken. Obviously, we got the 5-hour-long list of the bank leaks, but no actual money was stolen from the account. So, on top of the fact, like, why would you need a fucking lawyer if no money was actively taken away? Just close the account.
That's like one of the most expensive things you could do is tell someone in the legal field that you need something done quickly, because that means they have to drop everything to do it, but that also means that they're going to bill you out the ass. Okay, so on top of everything that happened to me, all right, the bullshit and drama online, which as usual is always fucking full of nonsense, but whatever. Neither here nor there, because I've been through it so many times. Who even fucking cares about that shit anymore, right? But then having to basically have, freeze accounts, close accounts, open accounts, transfer, late fee, back fee, this, that, new agreement, because now my agreements that were in place are fucked up because they're defaulted. I gotta be new agreements now, this and that. I got a bill yesterday for $1,500 for this shit that I basically had to have legal representation and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be fucking shitting me. You know, like, what the fuck?
Why did you need a lawyer in the first place,
I knew I was going to get billed, and I knew I had to do it. You know, there's nothing I could do about it. I absolutely
don't need a lawyer.
Had to do this. There was no other way to go about it. I had to get stuff fixed because of the situations. Keep in mind, this is not just, I'm a normal guy with a bank account and a few bills. I'm a guy who has all these arrangements in place with the federal government and stuff for back taxes and shit, and it's a lot of work to get shit cleared up when you get fucked over like this. Because this is something that was not my fault. You know what I mean? Like, this is someone going in, getting access to one account, another account, screwing with all of that behind the scenes without my permission.
Screwing with all of that is AKA just getting access to it and taking a record of it. They didn't take any money out of it. Now, I don't condone the person who did it. I don't condone breaking the law in order to find it. But they found the information, but it's not like they took any money out of it. It's not like they changed any information on the account. You still had access to that. What you should have done was just close the accounts and make a new bank account. That's all you had to do. You didn't need a fucking lawyer for that. They didn't steal any money from it.
Fucking over all my financials, and then on top of that,
But
now
there's
I'm
no
defaulted
real
on everything because I
theft that
couldn't
took
fix
place.
it right away. You know, this is bad. Special K, if you spam the fucking chat one more time with your nonsense, I'm gonna...
And yeah, it's like you probably could have just got a public prosecutor if they caught him. But on top of that, it's like no real theft was actually taking place because no money was actually removed or taken from him. So it's like, what?
to ban you. I'm tired of you. He's an idiot.
Because
This
you're
guy's just an
lying
idiot,
out
and
your
I'm gonna fucking
mouth,
ban him right now. He's a
Phil. You
moron,
don't
doesn't
need
know
a
what the fuck he's
lawyer
talking
for
about.
this shit.
Because you're just sitting here to try to derail the stream and try to contradict everything I'm saying. You go fuck yourself. No, really. You could go fuck yourself. Because I'm the one who just fucking went through all this for 2 fucking months. I'm not gonna listen to your fucking stupid bullshit.
Because you're
You wanna act
lying,
like you know better. Go
bitch.
fuck yourself. Get the fuck out. I'm not gonna deal with your dumb shit today when I'm trying to be fucking real with my audience. Fuck you.
For real,
God damn, I hate
being real with my audience means let me lie out my ass to the audience so they can give me more fucking money. Because none of this shit
fucking
happened.
idiots like this.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
God damn, was that toxic? Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Damn. Poor guy.
So anyway, I mean, the good news is I did get most of the stuff fixed. The bad news is it cost me a ton of money. So now on top of all the other shit going on in my life, like I don't have enough, right? Like I God forbid that I share something personal with you, like tell you that I have an issue with my shower or something, because then people have to make a big deal about it. But all that is going on, and then on top of that, now I get a bill for $1,500, right? Now, here's the thing about this kind of fucked up stuff. It's one thing to troll someone online.
Yeah, exactly. He's claiming that he needed a lawyer. He needed to hire a lawyer and have them immediately step in to close a bank account and create a new bank account. That's what he's saying. Like, you don't need a lawyer to close a fucking bank account. No money was actively fucking taken out. Anyway, right? Even if money was taken out or withdrawn, usually you don't need a lawyer for that. Usually the bank will, like, close the account for you. And then, like, if God forbid they took some money out, you, like, I don't think you would actually need a lawyer. I think they would be you could be provided a lawyer. And even then, I don't even think you would actually need it. You would just argue with the bank about it. And if you have evidence that your account was hacked, the bank would probably either fix the issue themselves or not make you responsible for that money or whatever if there's fraudulent charges placed on there. But that didn't happen anyway. So, like, why would you need to hire a fucking lawyer for that, Phil?
And to spread defamation or slander, whatever you want to call it, and put it all over the internet and ruin my online reputation and all of that. It's another thing to concretely steal money from me. That is what has happened here. This is
Do you have
concrete
evidence
theft
of this, Phil?
of money that should be going to things that I need to pay. I need to pay my taxes. I need to pay my back taxes. I need to pay my utilities.
Provide
I need to pay
evidence
my
that
mortgage.
money
I need
was
to pay
actually
the internet
taken
bill. I
out.
need to buy games for my business. I need to put food in the mouths of my family members.
This whole time, does this sound like the bank leaks were fake? Does it sound like this didn't happen? That no one had gained access to his bank account? This sounds to me that that was indeed his fucking bank account. That someone got into his bank account. Now, we have no evidence that someone took money out of his bank account because there's no proof of that. But it does sound like that was his bank account, doesn't it? That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay? These are my life priorities. I was just robbed of a significant amount of
Steve
money
should have known
because
about
I had
this,
to go through
honestly.
hoops to fix all the shit this
Like,
fucking
he
piece
was
of shit
admitting
fucked up
that
for
it
me.
was his account.
And now it cost me a ton of money. That's money that was stolen from me. That is not money that was, oh, that's a necessary business expense. This person committed federal crimes against me, and now I have I'm going to have to pay this money. Yesterday, I had to dump $500. $500 that should have went towards important stuff went to this. And now I got to pay it slowly. That's the other thing,
Went
too.
to where? Phil, where did it go to? The lawyer? You don't need to hire a lawyer for this. Even if someone took money out of your account, I don't think you need to actually hire a lawyer for that.
Okay? The other thing is, when it comes to this, I don't have the money. I just don't have the money to pay it all right now. So I paid as much as I could. I dropped $500.
And also, it's like, keep in mind, it's like in 2021, like, he was still making like $130,000 a year. And that's on the low estimate end. $130,000 a year, and you're living paycheck to paycheck to the point where you can't afford $1,500 of an unexpected expense shows up that you can't afford $1,500, and you're making $130,000 a year. I mean, that's pretty bad, Phil. Like, you're making that much fucking money and you're still living paycheck by paycheck means something fucking is wrong there.
$100 yesterday, my first payment. Every month I don't pay in full. There's new fees and interest added. So even though I owed $1,500, okay, great, $1,500. I paid $500. Oh, you owe $1,000, but that's all I can pay for this month. So next month I'll owe way more because now there's fees and interest because you didn't pay it in full, and that's how it works in America, ladies and gentlemen. In the United States of America, that's what they consider business. Yeah. So there's nothing I can do about it. I just gotta slowly do what I can do. And pay it off gradually. And this, it's my day off, too. That's the other thing, it's my day off. And I'm actually, when the news hit, I was in the kitchen. I was washing vegetables and preparing them and stuff for meals for the week while Kat was getting ready to go out. And I'm cleaning everything.
Yeah, because can you believe it? Yeah, of course. Phil's the kind of guy who fucking, meal preps. Like, doesn't Phil seem like the kind of guy who, like, washes vegetables and preps his meal for the day, for the whole week? Right? Like, Phil is totally the kind of guy who meal preps all the time, right? Sure, why not? Throw extra lies in there. Yeah, I was in the kitchen meal prepping when my wife was at work. Actually, was he still with Leanna at the time in 2021? I don't remember what year Leanna had left him, actually.
And then I get this news. I'm like, what the fuck? I had no clue it was going to be that much money. I was hoping it would be like $500, $1,500. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
So he lost $1,500 through fees, and it wasn't outright stolen from him. Keep that one in mind.
And it basically put me in a really bad mindset.
I'm still questioning the $1,500 in fees, because like, the bank isn't going to charge you fees to close an account that has fraud happening, or if someone has access to your bank account. Like, they're not going to charge you money to close that. And I still don't understand why you would need a lawyer in the first place. If, like, money wasn't actively taken out of the account, why the fuck would you need money for that? Or a lawyer for that, I mean.
It did. It put me in a really bad mindset. Because now it's like, this is supposed to be my day off. And now how am I supposed to enjoy
Kevin Bernstein, Jesus Christ, that guy.
Oh, guess what, Phil? Now for the next several months, any money you make is basically going to this. Because if you don't, you're going to get financially fucked yet again. And by the way, while you're paying this, now you can't pay the other things you're supposed to be paying. So I just want you guys to understand something. Again, there's a difference between, oh, I make fun of Phil. Oh, we talk slanderous and defamatory stuff about Phil online and ruin his reputation because we can get views on videos and streams and stuff like that. That's one thing entirely, okay? Committing identity theft and federal crimes against me, all right? It's not funny. That's not a joke. It's not even like for personal benefit. Like, this person who did this, what did they get out of it besides knowing that they hurt me, right? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
You see, he's admitting right fucking here that they didn't take any money out of him. They somehow, according to him, they somehow costed him $1,500 by him hiring a lawyer for some fucking reason, which I don't really understand why you would need to hire a lawyer anyway, and that's probably a fucking lie. But he's admitting they didn't actually steal any money from him.
They didn't benefit. There wasn't any way that they were going to be able to steal money and shit. I'm not dumb. I'm going to notice
exactly.
when these things are happening.
Right there.
This person was trying to authorize
they didn't take money off of him.
And money movement in my name that wasn't real because I didn't authorize it, but they were trying to do it all behind the scenes online without my permission. And basically, they were doing many different ways. They were trying to empty and overdraw my bank account.
Oh, sure they were. Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't want to get into massive detail about it, but basically, you know what I mean? Like, this is beyond. Oh,
yeah, sure they were
Phil,
doing that.
And so I'm just gonna fuck with him online or say that he's a jerk or whatever. Or even to the point,
say that he's a jerk. Oh yeah, I did.
I actually want to steal from Phil.
I'm pretty sure they just wanted to prove a point by gaining access to see your spending habits, Phil. Because you always cry poor all the time, right? So they just wanted to gain access to it. Now, I don't condone it, but at the same time, like, I can see why they might have done it.
Rob this man so that his family and everything doesn't have a way to live anymore.
And
Like,
we have
that's
no
essentially what it is.
evidence that
I
they
am not
actually
robbed of
trying to take any
$1,500.
money out of that.
$1,500 that should have been going towards important things, it will be gone. I have to pay it. It will be gone. And that's something I will
Why
never
do you
get
have to
back
pay
if
it?
it's
Why do you
stolen
need a
from me.
lawyer,
Outright
Phil?
theft, because
Tell
it's a
me.
scumbag. You know? And what I
It's
hate about all
not
this is that,
theft
again,
if
this
they
is
didn't
like the Wild
take any
West, the
money.
internet. No one is going to figure out who this guy is. I know they're not. No one's ever going to figure out
How
who
is
this
it
guy is, no matter
identity
how,
theft
we have
if-
IP addresses. They're never going to
If they
figure out
didn't
who this
take any
person
money,
was.
Phil.
It's going to be like everything else online. Online, everything is the Wild West. There's no law. There's no rules. There's nothing. Everyone gets away with everything, right? So, for me, this is an insanely stressful, fucked up, life-altering situation. Because not only do I have to change everything in my life, I have to recreate things from the start. Accounts that I've had for 20 plus years, I have to make new ones. And I have to basically do all the security stuff now. I had to put my whole credit.
Aw, poor
It was already
guy.
fucked. Let me put it this way. My credit was already fucked. Now it's just doubly fucked. Because now I had to put all alerts and fraud reports out there on my
I don't think that actually affects your credit score at all. I'm pretty sure.
credit reports and stuff, which that hurts your credit too. You know what I
I
mean?
don't
Like,
think it
it's just
does.
everything on top of everything. It's messed up, man. And I don't think the people who cover this stuff, oh, we're going to make drama videos about it, right? I don't think they understand the extent of what they do. Prompts people to keep doing this kind of shit. I don't think that the person who did this to me would have done it.
Exactly. It would leave a like. You're right, Jackal. Again, like if they actually actively tried to actually take money, it would leave some kind of trail that they could find and catch the person. That's probably why they didn't try to take any money. They just wanted to show evidence that he was spending so frivolously. That it would have left some kind of trail for investigators to find.
If I had not been the target of the ire of the internet for so many years. If people would have just left me the fuck alone and let me just do my little streams.
Yeah,
and just
exactly.
have fun with
His-
small, more
Because this was after his bankruptcy, right? Like this was in like when did he have his bankruptcy? This was in 2021. Again, I'm terrible with dates. I'm awful at it. I don't remember when he had his bankruptcy, but if this was after his bankruptcy, his credit was already fucked up.
intimate audience here on YouTube, if you just leave me the fuck alone and stop harassing me and stop slandering me for your own personal benefit, this person who's a nut job, obviously, who thinks it's okay to commit federal crimes, probably wouldn't have cared about me and wouldn't have done it. But I'm sorry, when you
It's all
create
our fault for
this
making
online
content on
toxic
Phil,
mentality,
right? I forgot.
all right, of, oh, this guy is okay to fuck with because of this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. And by the way, every single reason there isn't even truthful. It's fucking slander, it's defamation, it's twisting the truth for your own purposes so you can make a drama video. This is what happens. This is the end result. Thank God I'm the person I am and I've been through the ringer. A normal person,
Okay.
you know, I've talked to people in the last month or so who said to me, I don't know how you put up with it. I don't know how. Now, these are
I
outsiders.
don't
These are
know
not people
how
who
you
live on
would
the
put
internet
up
and have
with
online
it.
presence
This
like
is
I do
some
or we do.
crazy
We
shit.
spend a lot of time on the internet and a lot of our lives are on the internet. These people are not like that. These are people who don't have that. They have kind of offline lives, although I'm sure they have an online presence. It's not like us. They're not on the internet all day doing shit.
They're not like
And they
us.
turn to me and
They're
say,
not like
what we heard
us.
happen to you, we can't imagine how you cope with it. And I'm like, you know, if I were another person, I probably wouldn't. If I were another person, I'd probably be fucking in a mental institution or talking to a psychiatrist right now. You know, for losing my mind.
You
with
should
how badly
be.
I've been treated and
You
abused
honestly
online.
should
But
be, Phil.
the truth of the matter is, I've been through the ringer with so many people being so nasty to me for so long that I'm kind of like desensitized to it. You know what they say? You're like punch drunk because of it. So many people say so many nasty things about me that are unfounded, that have nothing to do with anything, and aren't true. That at this point, I don't react to it or care about it no more. In this case, I have to react and care about it because you just stole from me. You just cost me time and money. The time so much wasn't as bad as now I'm losing significant amounts of money because of this scumbag. Okay?
That was the first clip, ladies and gentlemen. And then
Alright. Hold on one second. I'm just looking it up really quick. Is it when he filed bankruptcy? Is it? Yeah, no, he filed bankruptcy in 2020 because it was when COVID was first kind of hitting. So yeah, at that point when the identity theft occurred, his credit score was already fucked up anyway because of the bankruptcy. The bankruptcy happened in 2020. So yeah, Phil, sorry, but your fucking credit score was already way fucked up because of the fucking bankruptcy. So like, no point in crying about that. Your fucking credit score is already fucked up. But yeah, just goes to show that yes, those were his fucking bank accounts. Obviously, like we all knew it was his fucking bank accounts anyway. There's no way in hell what he was claiming is true. It's like, oh yeah, well no, that's someone else's bank account. I'm like, no, someone faked it. No way in hell someone faked it. We all know. And again, give DSP enough rope and he's going to hang himself. He is the reason we know it's fake, that he's lying about it. He is the reason we know that it is his bank accounts in the first place. That's on his actual YouTube channel. He just thinks that people forget about his old ass videos, but you go on his YouTube channel, all his older shit is still there for you to find to this day. Personally, I never thought that whole Comcast internet troll was real. I always thought that was fake to begin with. The electric thing, maybe that could have been real. I'm not sure. But as far as the Comcast internet troll thing, I always thought that was fake anyway. I never really believed that, and there was no evidence to believe that anyway. I think he was just fishing for sympathy with that, to be fair. But anyway, I think I'm going to cut the stream here. It's getting a little late. I knew I wasn't going to be able to catch up and finish this, especially when I was getting sidetracked with a lot of shit, so I do apologize for that. But I'll continue to finish this interview next time I stream, and then I have to eventually go back and finish DSP reacting to his June the King doc, because I still got to finish that one too. I know I'm way fucking behind on everything. It's just been insane lately, so I apologize for that. I just haven't been having a whole lot of free time to stream because I actually have a job I have to go to, and I have a real life outside of the internet, unlike Phil up here. So I'll eventually get to it. I apologize for getting so far behind. But I hope you all have a great night. Hopefully what I showed that, I mean, obviously we all know already, but yeah, he is lying, obviously, about the bank leaks not being his. And it was entertaining. This was actually a really good interview. And I'm sure everyone's already watched it at this point. But yeah, so I'll continue to cover this. And hope you guys have a good week. And I know if you're on the East Coast, be careful because we're still getting pelted with a bunch of snow and ice and wind still. So that kind of sucks. So yeah, have a good one.